Is this not why you are here?
I always love this one. This is like the first intro I ever had. And I can tell because the guitar on it is like completely different from the song we do now. Oh boy. All right. Put it in the chat. Would or would not? I totally would. I hate to say it, but like Lily Phillips is kind of mid. Yeah, we're going to talk about that today. Everybody's getting scammed. You're getting scammed. Except for me. And actually, no, nobody in this chat is getting scammed. Matt Walsh, you got played. Candace Owens played. Oh, boy. Yeah, all y'all got. You're still getting played. Michael Knowles, you are definitely getting played. Oh, man. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's just how it is these days.
How do you feel about that?
That you're an award-winning girl?
No, that I've made $1 million on a... Not in 1 month. This is just overall.
Over a period of time.
Over the year that I've done it.
That's her mom, by the way.
That's great.
Really?
I'm happy for you.
Aww.
And as long as you are happy, I'm happy. Right?
Yeah. I feel like every parent should be like that.
Viral creator on. I went on so many podcasts because I knew the only way to grow my was to be viral, and it's such an oversaturated platform right now, and I've been on it for like 5.5 years. So everything I've said on podcasts is complete clickbait. I did it to go viral to then make money, and it worked. I said whatever I needed to because I understand the male brain, and I needed to make money, and I was like,
wait, so you lied about everything?
Yeah, pretty much. Cheating, it's actually my biggest fantasy. So you'll never want to cheat on me. You'll be drained. Like there's nothing left in you to cheat. But I will cheat because I'm bored.
I am so thankful that God truly met me where I was, because I now feel emotions. The minute God met me in my living room, I started feeling like it was crazy, because it was a phenomenon of years and years and years of being numb. It was like a puzzle piece with a piece missing, and that piece was like the best part of it, you know, like the actual heart of it was gone. And I had this moment with God where I was like feeling all of this, and I was sobbing in my living room, but I was at my wit's end. I had everything around me. I lived in a 4,200 square foot home, which was like $3.5 million. I drove a Porsche. I had any designer bag that you could want. I have a ginormous closet. I have everything. Money doesn't matter. It did not bring me true joy. Like, you can be happy, like, oh, I just got a new bag, cool, but that's not joy. Like, the joy that the Lord gives you is like, well, one, he says it's your strength, but the joy that I have now is nothing compared to worldly happiness.
He's not a Christian!
And what's puzzling is, you know, why would someone invite such egregious degradation upon themselves this way? Why would you humiliate yourself this way publicly? And I can only come to the conclusion that Lily Phillips hates herself very deeply, very viscerally. She hates herself. And she started for that reason. We're never going to know why. We're never going to know the real story, why she feels this way about herself, who even led her to believe that this was an option.
I feel like I just took a bath in battery acid.
I'm the girl that slept with barely legal 18-year-olds, treated the dads to a night off, and treated the husbands who hadn't had it in a while. And on Sunday, I'm going to be breaking a world record and taking 300. It's going to be a mixture of all of them.
And it's nice to actually meet the boys because it puts you at ease a bit.
This is crazy. Yeah. I'm nervous. Is it?
And you're not getting.
How are you feeling?
No, I'm a little bit nervous.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Just putting a baby monitor in here so I can keep an eye on you.
Yeah. Have you had like an energy drink?
Yeah, I had a squash pastry in the garden.
Okay.
With your dog.
Lunch or anything? What do you think?
I think I'm gonna have a break. I think it gets to about 12 and have a little.
Okay.
Freeze.
Yeah, that's good. Are the guys gonna shower? Or
No.
That just comes straight. And the condoms?
Yeah, they're in my bag. I bought like 200 of them.
Yeah, that's good. Just in case, because it might break.
Exactly.
Yeah. And like, do we think we're gonna get to 100 today?
Yeah, I'm not leaving without it.
I came to last night after work.
Oh, guys, we are running behind.
Lovely people.
I got in at 6 o'clock this morning. Oh my God.
I'm excited just to get the first one in.
Yeah.
Like, you know when you just like want it to start, it's like doing a race, like you just want it to start.
It's early in the morning to be out.
Yeah, it is.
And 5 minutes each, right?
5 minutes each. Trying probably might do a little bit less time. I think there's about 8 of them.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't want to keep them waiting too long.
Fine. Yeah. Just all the best.
Thank you. Kill it.
Yeah, careful. Kill it. Lots of fluids.
Thank you.
I'm not filming the guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
God wants you to have the baby.
Definitely not.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
From your experience, what type of guy do you prefer? Asian,
one that's
white?
got a cock.
Okay. What gives you the best experience? What type of guy?
I'll take anything if I'm honest. I'm not that picky, mate.
If you're asking, she has a big black dildo and she shoved it up her ass earlier.
Can your mouth cover over the mic?
Well, at least we disinfect them.
Oh my God.
So you did
She's the
put
one,
your
bro.
mouth
Yeah,
on
Absolutely
my
do
mic.
keep the place hygienic.
Yo,
So
she's the one, bro.
don't worry. We wipe them down with alcohol after every show.
All right, she's the one, mate.
Fantastic.
Mate.
But
All right, what about you?
First of all, I just want to say shout out to mum and dad watching from England. Love you guys.
All right.
And also,
Are they really watching?
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Cheerio.
Also, I was just wondering if you're free tonight after this. I'm into the whole snow bunny thing.
Huh?
Are you free tonight after this? I'm into the whole snow bunny thing.
BBC?
Yeah.
Yeah, come. I mean, I don't want to say anything because, like, you can't handle it, though.
Oh my God.
You can't handle it. I'm just saying.
You should see the video. You should see the anal video we got to see before.
Yeah.
Hold on. It's to a party?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
All right.
I'm dead.
Okay.
Well, thanks for having me. I got one thing out there.
Okay, now y'all know why Fresh tries to end the show so quick.
I thought you were a man of God.
This is all allegedly.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. Now I want to. Where do I go? Where do I go from here? Yeah, it was months ago. Was it this year? I think it was this year. I think she was probably like 22 when she did that video. What's funny to me is like not any like if you're familiar with Fresh and Fit, you already know who this bitch is. I at first I kind of like, where have I seen this chick before? And then I realized, so you're disappointed. I don't know how should I. It sounds like when Mike Fresh like actually turned that shit down. I thought it was funny as hell when she was like, oh God, this is the shit I have to do. So that was Lily Phillips, and we're going to talk about Lily for a little bit today because she kind of leads into a bigger, broader topic that I actually wanted to talk about today, which is female accountability. But she's actually like the perfect she's a perfect segue, I think, into all of this because she has been making the rounds. If you guys don't know who Lily Phillips is, she's a chick who just recently did, and I mean did, 100 guys in 24 hours. And according to my statistician here, my mathematician, Sam Botta, says that's one every 14.4 minutes. 13 hours, that is one for every 7.8 minutes. So you gotta get them in and get line them up and move them out, man. Just like,
Jeez, it's like a cattle drive. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm going to tell you something right now. You come. I'm a man of God. Wait, where is it? Here we go.
I know who my God is. Hallelujah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to back up off of this one. You don't come to this show to get the moralizing bullshit that you will get from Matt Walsh, who I'm going to talk about a little bit today. Actually, and I was planning on like putting his video up. I think I might just like leave it alone because I'm not sure I will get a copyright strike on it or not. Candace Owens talking about this. Obviously, Andrew Clavin and white-haired honey girl. What the hell's her name? She's part of Tim Pool's team. Can't remember her name. I actually been on her show before. Of course, everybody wants to talk about this because it's moral red meat. It's moralistic red meat, and everybody wants a piece of Lily. I'm afraid to say. So yeah, exactly. What 100 is nothing. And the reason why I agree with you, and the reason why I actually kind of like took a little bit of interest in this is because I was watching, and I think I've actually put it on some of our intro videos for some past intro videos. I'm familiar with Bonnie Blue, who you guys just saw in the beginning here, and she's just talking about how she's going to do like 300 guys inside of, I don't know, a week or something. I don't know. She's been in the news. She's Australian. I think Annie Knight is Australian as well, and they usually they're like tag team helper outers. I don't know, but they both have their what is Lily's connect to the Daily Wire? I don't know yet. Well, here's the connect. They love shit like this. That's the connect. All it has to be is the next Nala Fit, and everybody's all about it. But Bonnie Blue and Annie Knight are sort of infamous, well, for lack of a better word, prostitutes, OnlyFans, mass sexual pleasurement girls. I don't know what else to call it. You know, it's funny is like whenever I heard this story about how these girls, like I think Annie Knight right now, the most recent video I saw from Annie Knight, she was saying that she had. Please don't go look them up, right? Don't do that. Not until after the show. It's not safe for work. But also Lily Phillips, not safe for work. Bonnie Blue, not safe for work. These are porn princess girls, right? Obviously. And I think the funny thing is the reason why I brought up I included the video from Fresh and Fit was because this was not too long ago, and even within let's see, was it yesterday? Everybody has been talking about this and moralizing over it and saying, oh, it's the men's fault. And if men were better, their women would be better too. And it's men have driven them to this. And it's like, shut the fuck up, please. So I'm watching all this go down, and it's not even so much I think everybody wants to blame this all on feminists and feminism. And feminists have brought this, they're sex positive feminists. And I'm like, yeah, but then why am I seeing nothing but like trad femme content creators who are the ones saying it's men's fault? I don't see any feminists saying that. I see it's like, I think it was Matt Walsh was saying on his stream when he was covering this. He thinks that's a failure of feminism and degeneracy brought on by like feminist theory and sex positive, I don't know, Gloria Steinem, Betty Friedan, feminism kind of stuff. And I'm like, no, Matt, that's not where I'm seeing it coming from, actually. It's really coming from your side of the fence, Matt. And I'm going to definitely call that out today. I'm also going to call out, we can get into the moralistic side of this, and everybody's going to want some sort of moral red meat, and I ain't giving you that. I'm going to rub these guys' noses in it, because these are the same guys that are stroking off to watching this girl like get gangbang railed right now. It's not the guys who took part in it. It's the guys who are paying the money to view this shit. Yes. If you're creating that demand, then maybe that's where you ought to start, instead of the guys that are just lining up around the block, because 80% of guys aren't getting laid, right? I mean, if you look statistically, I don't care whose numbers you're using. I think it's pretty much however you want to dice it up and whatever numbers you want to use, it's pretty much a given that most guys aren't getting fucking laid these days. And so when somebody says, hey, open casting call, we need 100 dudes to bang this one girl, do you not think that they're gonna line up? Even Bonnie Blue was talking about how she wanted to. She'd had a 100 virgins amongst her like 300 guys and stuff, and she wanted to the thing about Bonnie Blue is like she's like it's almost like a charity act because like she wants to help these guys lose their V card, and then it's like, oh, and if you're a husband and you haven't gotten laid in a long time, if you're in a sexless marriage, we want you to, because like we want to make sure that the people who deserve to be getting it should be getting it first. So if like apparently if you're a male content creator, you're like at the end of the line, and maybe we'll get to you if there's time at the end of the shoot. But yeah, it's you can't talk about this without somebody saying you're endorsing this behavior, Rolo. If you're not condemning it, you're endorsing it. And it's like, no, dude, you can actually have an opinion of something or you can actually talk about something that you might find completely abhorrent, but it's okay to talk about it because that helps you understand it that much more. And that's really, if there is a tenet of the red pill, that's it. Like, just because you bring up some topic or you bring up some kind of reality, an unflattering reality about female nature, if you bring up some sort of unflattering aspect of women's nature, that doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad fucking guy. It just means you're just fucking delivering the news. And people can take that information and they can use it. But again, as I've said in the past, you can't tell people straight up data or just give them facts and information without telling them how to feel about that. And here we have another shining, perfect fucking example of this, which is, if you have anything to say about this, you must be endorsing it. And God forbid you're a guy. And if you're not 100% on board with Hannah Cox and Ashley St. Clair, and I can't even, I've got them all lined up on my Twitter feed right now. But it's nothing but these tradcon power moms just lining up to have a take on this. And I'm like, look, you're getting fucking played here. The more you talk about this, the more money that she's making. In fact, we discussed this briefly on Wednesday's show, which was Access Vegas. It was our Christmas show. And we talked about it just briefly because it was just starting to kind of like snowball into where it is right now. And so we're talking about it, and I think we got on Perplexity or something like that, and we found out that she made $10 million off of this, off of the document, I guess the documentary, and certainly the OnlyFans video that she put up, right? And that's her thing. She's trying to go above and beyond. Now, the reason why I'm bringing up the connection between her and Bonnie Blue and Annie Knight is because Annie Knight and Bonnie Blue are known for doing lots and lots of guys, like concurrently. And contiguously, that's the better word I should be using for doing guys, like continuously, whatever, like one after the other, right? And that's been their sort of claim to fame. You want me? I'll bring up the Matt Walsh thing. Yeah, I'm gonna. I've been thinking about that. Sorry, Biggie Smalls, whatever. I was gonna opine on that, but I think of what I'm gonna. It's kind of a long video, so I might just like pick it up halfway through, and then we'll talk about it a little bit, because I think he sort of like Matt is just fucking right there, man. It's like a curb this high, Matt. All you gotta do is just push him over the edge, and he'll be good to go, right? But he just can't let go of the conservative ideology stuff, and so he's always got to defend his. And so it's never about the trad femme females who are on his side of the fence that are more or less feminists themselves. He'll never want to say that they are, right? If they got a crucifix around their neck, then he's not going to talk shit about you, ladies. Just rest assured, you'll be fine. But so Bonnie Blue, Annie Knight, her most recent video, I think she's up to like 650 guys for the year. And she's been on Australian news talking about that and how she was like, they both of them will go to like spring break areas in Melbourne, I don't know, wherever they go, just so that they can be around a lot of horny guys, right? And so they do that. In some cases, I guess they deserve the humanitarian award because they're like helping like virgin dudes who wouldn't otherwise get laid. And then guys who are in sexless marriages, those guys have priority, I guess, because they deserve it more. I don't know. So anyways, do you think Matt Walsh jerks to this? No, but I know Mike Knowles does. Michael Knowles, I'm pretty sure. I don't know about Matt, but Michael Knowles is definitely doing the old knuckle shuffle for this one. But no, so the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I don't want to say she's a contemporary, but she has done content with Bonnie. Don't ask me how I know. She's done content with Bonnie Blue, and it makes me think that she got the idea from Bonnie Blue or she got it from Annie Knight, because that's their thing. It's like, we're going to put a bunch of, now she puts a different spin on this because she gets a documentary film team to come in there and sort of get the sympathy audience. And that's where, and you want to know why this thing blew up and why we're even talking about it right now. And everybody on freaking YouTube, I apologize. I usually don't like to do these things unless they can like segue into some greater principle, which is accountability today, I promise. But once it was out there, and once you got the tearjerker aspect, and there's some other video here I may or may not put up, but it's her just sort of crying and shedding a tear. And that's, once you have this 23-year-old girl who looks like the girl next door. She doesn't look like your stereotypical porn star. She doesn't have these gigantic titties. She is okay, but like I said, she's kind of mid. She's thin enough, she's cute enough and everything, but if you see her doing like fucking gangbang videos, or she's like taking it in a from like she was saying she likes BBC. She does like BBC. And by the way, all you have to do is go to her Twitter site or to her Twitter page. You don't have to go to OnlyFans. Go to her Twitter. And it's all there. And by the way, I said it's not safe for work, but you'll see exactly what she's about. And I'll tell you what was interesting is I was who was I talking to? There was this one chick who was on Twitter, and I brought her up just now. Where did we go? Her name is Natalie Jean Beisner, Beisner. I never even heard who this person is, but apparently she is, where'd she go? She's God, Guts, and Glory. Here, let me put this up here real fast. It's easier if I just share this for you guys. I gotta be careful because I can't show everything. I gotta be so careful with this because like there's
how far
it'll jump up, it'll jump up and get me. If I like I'll get a nudity strike if I'm not careful. Okay, I'm just gonna read it to you, and then because she says this, I can't get over this. I haven't been touched so deeply by anything in a while. And I'm sorry, I can't get behind the idea that she's to blame. Watching this documentary feels like watching everyone gathered around an alcoholic for a reverse intervention where they just pour booze down the alcoholic's throat for her. In that situation, you would call everyone sick and messed up, and you'd be right. She's really sick. The men are really sick, all 100 of them. And then I'm like this. I'm like, how about the guys she's already done multiple gangbangs with? I said, no. How about the guys she's shot commercial porn with? I said, you trad femme churchies have no idea how thoroughly you're being played with this chick. And they don't. It's the same thing that happened with Michael Knowles and Nala Fit. They're like, oh, I hope she converts to Christianity. I hope she has a turn. I hope she changes her ways. Like that's the operative here. Right. And so I put this up there. And of course I said, the girl, Lily Phillips has this, and I'm not going to show it. I'm just going to tell you, I'm just going to read it to you because it's easier for me to just simply read it to you. She says, literally within an hour of me responding to Natalie Jean Beisner, she posts this thing and she says, a girl who loves her job. And it's basically her in a gangbang or a bukkake. It's basically her just getting jizzed all over. Right. And I'm going to tell you, I'll tell you the truth. I'm just going to say that's what she does. This is what she does for a fucking living. Okay. Don't feel sorry for her and don't fucking blame it on the guys who are there too. Okay. Because she's the one that's initiating this over and over and over and over again. This is not a one-time thing. This isn't like, oh, we're going to do this, this special thing because we need to up the ante a little bit. We want to do this kind of escalation because she's got to keep up with Bonnie Blue and Annie Knight or whatever the hell it is. Right. She feels like she has to escalate because, and I heard this as well. They say, oh, well, OnlyFans is so oversaturated right now. There's too many creators. And so all these girls are like pushed to do the next most outrageous, most egregious thing. Right. And it's like, no, they're not actually. In fact, the women who make the most money off of OnlyFans are kind of like 7.5s. They're kind of because they look attainable, because they look like the kind of girl that like maybe a guy who's following her on OnlyFans has a chance with. those are the ones that do really well. Not the ones that are doing 100 guys. Not the ones that are just like, you know, get them in, get them out. They're not the, you know, the cattle call the chicks, right? But that's the presumption. That's always going to be the presumption, because that's what gets the sympathy. That's what those tears. That's what gets the sympathy. That poor girl. This is an alcoholic intervention. Blah blah blah. So what does she do? She puts out, and this is Lily Phillips puts out this thing. Says a girl who loves her job, and then of course the video attached is her in a bukkake video. So just don't go saying I told you to go look at it. I'm just saying I'm reporting the news here. And I'm like, I said, posted 1 hour ago. I said, you guys are fucking idiots, right? You guys are getting played by this girl. And then, of course, she comes back. I couldn't even believe this chick fired back, because I don't even think she was actually doing her own PR for herself. She says, what do you think you're proving here? Did I say that she repented and found God? And I said, no. I said, what's being proven here is that you're so wrapped up in your self-righteous bullshit that it's easier to blame men than to accept that this girl's pandering to your moralism. You played your part boosting her signal and put her accountability on men, just like a good fucking feminist. And that's exactly what Matt Walsh was saying. But he thinks that it's the feminists that are doing it, not good God-fearing Christians like Natalie Jean, whatever, former Democrat turned sane person. Opinions are my own, but they should be yours too, right? And of course, she's got a big old American flag in the background with her hoop earrings, and she's just, oh my God. It's interesting to see how quickly people like sort of shift gears. I was telling you guys about how people like pivot from like content to content. Remember, former Democrat turned sane person. How convenient. When did that happen? November 6th. Yeah. So it's whatever is the most expedient at that time. And again, I'm running Natalie up the flagpole. There are so many others. Like Hannah Cox has this whole big gigantic. Everybody wants a piece of this whole story, and there's one sort of uniting theme amongst the whole damn thing, and it's the men's fault, and that's really where it comes down to. And the reason why I wanted to talk about accountability today, and sort of the Lily scam, is because there's a few things that are going on here. One is that women are never held accountable for jack shit. And even Matt Walsh is starting to see the writing on the wall, which actually surprises me. And in fact, I'm gonna dig up Matt Walsh's thing. I'm gonna have to actually simulcast it here real quick. So let me see if I can see what I can do for you guys here. Yeah. So he was talking about this, and I don't have it downloaded, so I'm gonna have to. I will have to. Where to go? Where's Matt? Matt Walsh. There you are. Matt Walsh is almost ready to take the red pill. Like he's almost there. Okay. Should I just simulcast this? Yeah. I want to push this on here. Grab that. There we go. Okay. I'm going to have to share screen, don't I? And audio too. All right. This is what Matt Walsh had to say, but I'm going to like pretty much the whole like first half of the video. It's like 15-minute video. First half of the video, he's just telling you what she's about. He knows nothing what she's about, or he can't say what she's really about, like I just did. But the second part of this is actually the sort of the more salient part of this whole thing. So I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to push it right to about maybe the 6-minute mark there. So
Can't. I mean, it's like getting smacked in the face with a 2x4. Like the account. That's how obvious it is. You can't miss it. But let me try to make sense of it. The only way to make sense of this double standard, where two people, man and woman, can willfully engage in a certain act, an act that in this case with Lily Phillips, not only are she willfully engaged, she is initiating it, inviting the men, advertising it, selling it, making money on it. The only way to look at that and say, oh, the man is exploiting her, not the other way around. The only way to do it is to say that the man is the leader.
There we go.
The man is in charge. That the man is basically the captain of the ship. And so he gets the blame when the ship goes down, even.
Okay, that's where I want to stop right there. Thank you. We'll keep this up and going. But that whole thing about the man is the leader, and the part where it's like the man, it's always men's fault, right? We can always say, but how do they characterize this, especially when it comes to sort of trad cons? Okay, they characterize it in the sense that if men were better, then women will be better. And anything that is a failure of like sort of moral degeneracy, anything is like Lily Phillips, a perfect example. She wouldn't exist if men were better. If men weren't going and lining up, 100 guys lining up outside the freaking apartment to go and bang her, like what, in 7 to 8 minutes. I can imagine those guys go, oh man, he gets off in like 3 minutes. He goes, shit, I have 4 more minutes. But no, I mean the guys who are lining up around it. I don't even know why we're even looking at that, because I think it was on was it the Atlantic or some, I forget what. Oh, the Spectator. Spectator had an article out saying that the whole situation with Lily Phillips is just this horrible, despicable, atrocious, whatever. And all the men who are involved should be like put to death, right? Or they should be like their name should be put out there, and basically, they need to be punished for this, like the 100 guys that showed up. And I thought about that, and I'm like, why would that even be a thing? And I think Matt's kind of like realizing this as well. Like, why would that be the first go-to? Well, because in general, and I'm not even saying this is Lily Phillips, I'm just saying women in general do not like the idea of accountability. There's no agency, there's no free will, there's nothing until there is. So I was also watching just recently, Myron and Fresh were here in Las Vegas, and they were using the who was it? Sean Kelly's studio, and they're having a conversation with like 4 girls in that studio. And one of the things that Myron brought up was that he treats women as if they're children, because they don't want to be held accountable, just like a child doesn't want to be held accountable for their own actions, right? So if a child has a tantrum and wants a toy in the grocery store or something like that, and you spank it, you act accordingly. You're the parent, and that's the child, right? And if that's the behavior that is constantly put out there, if that's what men can expect from women, then why wouldn't men, if men are the leaders and men are the ones that are the only ones that have any kind of agency and are the only ones that have any kind of responsibility for the actions of those women and those children, sometimes being the same thing at once, then why not treat them as children? But the problem is when you are Myron Gaines or Rollo Tomasi or whoever, and you say, I treat women as if they're children. I'm not saying I do, but I'm just saying that I read this last week when I was talking about the big head babies dynamic, right? And the male protector dynamic, and how men see women in the same kind of subconscious sense as they do children, because they're in need of protection, and they are in need of guidance, and they are in need of having someone make those decisions for them. Well, the problem is women get really indignant about that, because like, I'm an adult, I can make my own decisions, I make my own damn money. Like these women, like the girl I showed you in the very beginning of this of my videos, she's there with her mother, and she made over $1 million, and mom's just kind of like, if you're happy, I'm happy. It's like 2 children talking to each other. Like, oh, you make the money, so what's she going to say? You're a millionaire. You're probably going to make even millions more. I'm your mom, and I need help. I'm just working a 9 to 5 here. If you're happy, I'm happy. Well, what does she have to do to get that? Does she have to bang 100 guys in 24 hours? So when I have brought up in the past, when I brought up the fact that men have sort of this innate, evolved sense of seeing women as children, and I think in the sense that women in this sense that women need to have the responsibility for their own actions covered or preempted or limited or in some way I would say prevented, protected by men. Like I brought up this fact, I think it was some feminist or somebody said this, or whenever we were talking about, would you choose the man or the bear in the forest? That bullshit. Oh, I would choose the bear, or I choose the man would never. And the thing is the reason why they say they would choose the bear over the man is because they're inherently distrustful of men, and they think that men are going to take over their freedom of their choices and everything else. And then of course they'll say, well, women need men's protection. And of course, the next thing out of their mouths is protection from what? And assuming you're going to say other men, right? Well, it's those other men. If they were better men, then there wouldn't be any need for protection. Bullshit. Whenever I hear that, now my response is to protect them from themselves. So when women are saying, well, protect me from what? Yourself, your bad choices. You know, we have this euphemism about how was it mansplaining, right? That stands for man explaining. Like he's explaining to you that if you go and try to pet the fucking bear, it's going to rip your head off. I don't believe you. Fuck you. Goes out there and rips it, just completely mauls a girl, and she's dead. Well, that's the breaks, I guess. But I think that when people hear Myron say something like, I treat women like children, I think he does. I think he's 100% earnest about that. I think he does it for a different reason, or he has a different sort of concept than I do. Like when he's saying, because his concept is rooted in responsibility and accountability. If women won't be held accountable, and I will be, then I have to treat you like a child. Then I have to, by default, until you show me otherwise, I have to, by default, treat you as a child. Because if you're going to blame every action, every one of your own actions, or if you're going to not want to be held accountable for banging 100 guys, right? Let's just say, for sake of argument, if you don't want to be held accountable for those actions, and I am, because by default I'm the man and I'm supposed to be the leader, as Matt was saying, then by default, is it not a better policy for me as Myron Gaines to just treat you, just blanket treat you as if you're a child until you can prove to me otherwise? And I can understand where he's coming from that, but it's really all of that, like that sort of instinct, I think, that Myron is sort of like trying to formalize, is really based and rooted in the evolutionary instinct of men looking at women as if they need the protection because they're fragile. You know, that's why the male protector dynamic exists, as I was saying last week. That's why men will jump in front of live ammunition to take a bullet for women that they don't even know right there in the moment. I mean, if you give them time to think about it, they might not do it. But right there in the moment, if it's an instantaneous decision, men they'll turn into a white knight. They'll do it just by default because it's just part of our instinctual sort of evolutionary, hardwiring. It's baked into our brains, unless we have the time to sort of consider the consequences of doing that, right? Which most don't. And honestly, I think that's one of the reasons why you look at someone like Matt Walsh, or you look at, feminism versus conservatism, just for sake of argument here, is remember what the goals of each one of those is it's to, in some way, exploit the male protector dynamic for the benefit of women from within the context of conservatism or from leftist liberal feminism, however you want to dice that up. So, but what both of them rely on, both conservative and feminism right now, is that men are supposed to be the leaders. Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. One of the things, my very first tweet, which by the way went like to 100,000+ views on it. I don't know if that necessarily counts as viral, but the first thing I said is that women are sinless and have no moral agency. Now I'm doing this as bait, right? Don't get me wrong. But it says sarcasm. That never really works on Twitter either. But I put this out. I said, women are sinless and they have no moral agency. Now, women do have agency. Their agency is their sexuality, which is why they take their clothes off immediately, which I'll talk about here in a moment. But the reason why I threw that one out there is because I knew what was coming. I knew exactly what was coming after this, and I even brought this up on the prior show. Is that as soon as this is on Access Vegas, I said as soon as it gets expedient for women to blame it on men, they will. They'll say it's going to be those guys. It's going to be the men's fault, and sure as shit, that's exactly where they went. And I knew they were going there, and that's why I said women are sinless. They are automatons, right? They're robots. They have no free will. They have no moral agency. They have no real agency. And if men are expected to be the leaders, then men need to take over and take back that authority. Now, that was meant to sort of bait people into the conversation. Well, of course they have moral. Me personally, I don't necessarily believe that. But they absolutely have moral authority, and they should be held accountable for their actions. When people ask me, Rollo, do you think we should repeal the 19th? I'm like, well, first of all, that's stupid and untenable. But even if we could do that, what are you going to do as a guy? Now you have taken over the moral agency of that woman. That's why, if you remember the Kamala Harris advertisement, I think it was like Julia Roberts was in it, right? And they're like looking at each other like, okay, It's like you got this fat, MAGA hat dude going, okay, honey, you know who to vote for. Oh, I'm going to go have a light beer out here, and they look at each other because they're the smart, peppy, moxie, progressivist girls who are just sort of faking it, right? We're not actually MAGA girls. We're actually Kamala girls, and we're going to vote for her, right? That whole thing right there, that the reason why that even exists is because they want women to believe that they have some sort of moral agency, right? And that agency in this case is vote for Kamala. They're playing on that just in the same way that young ladies such as Lily Phillips have learned to play on the conservative side of things and how to essentially pander to this moralism. She's making she made $10 million bucks off of fuck in a week, and all she had to do. I mean, how much of that do you think the documentary team saw? Did they make it? I don't even think they made anything, right? And she's on there saying I would do it for free. I'm like, I don't think so. But I wanted to point this out because Matt's going to go into a little diatribe here about male leadership, and I think he's conflicted here. Because I've thrown, honestly, I think Matt might have read the conversations that went along with my initial tweet here. Because my initial tweet was they're going to blame it on the guys. They're just going to say that it's men's fault that she had to do this in the first place. It's what Ryan Stone calls it Schrodinger's feminist, right? So it's accountability when it works for her, and it's no accountability, and it's men's fault when it doesn't, right? And so it's this state of sinlessness. It's this state of a complete lack of free will, and then a complete lack of moral agency. So ladies, and even Matt says this here, and he'll say it in a second here, is like, you don't get it both ways. You can't have it both ways. So I'm going to say this right now. If you're watching this and you have some sort of like moral issue with me or hell, even maybe Matt, if you have some sort of moral issue with guys not stepping up, and the only reason women are the way they are is because men won't step up to the plate and be leaders. As soon as they do, then you cry foul. That's when you say, oh, these guys are narcissists. These guys they're turning into a police state. It's turning into what Gilead in The Handmaid's Tale. Oh, we don't have any autonomous control. Our bodies, our choices, and everything. Okay, your body's your choices. It's fucking Lily Phillips' body and her choice, and she made that fucking choice, and she is responsible for that. And if you're going to point that out and try to blame it on a guy, start with who initiated it. And it's the same thing like when we're talking about abortion. Like, oh, well, if men would just keep their peckers in their pants, then there would be less abortion. So you guys, it's really on you. And it's like, no, abortion happens after the sex. I don't know if you guys know this. Mathematically, this is kind of like chronologically, only one person can decide to have an abortion. And it's not the guy. Only the woman gets to decide that. And it's after the fact. And that's the thing is, as soon as that guilt, that association, that responsibility, that accountability, those liabilities, as soon as they are made real for women, that's when they want to retcon it. That's when they want to go back in history. So, it's the men that are like, yeah, but the men don't get to say whether the child lives or dies. You do. That's what we're talking about right here in the now. Not what led up to it. Who's making the decision to do that? And that is you. Because if it's your body and your choice and you get to make those things, guess what? You are accountable and liable and responsible for your own choices. No, it's men. They need to have more. They need to step up to the plate. They need to be servant leaders. They need to be whatever. If that's the case, if you want men to be leaders, then guess what? You have to be a follower. Men need to lead. They need to lead in the family. You know what that implies, ladies? That implies a fucking hierarchy. That means there's a guy who's the leader and the other people who are underneath that leader. That's what that implies. There ain't no 50-50 fucking leadership, especially when that guy has to take over the responsibility for your actions that you are insisting that he does.
And if a dozen other people are also to blame, even if in fact the captain didn't screw up, even if the captain did everything right, still he gets the blame. Mm-hmm. And in the old days, he goes down with the ship. Mm-hmm. Even if it wasn't his fault, right? Right? The Titanic hits the iceberg. The captain was asleep. He had somebody else in charge of that. It's not his fault. He's got to go down with the ship. That's the burden of leadership. The burden of leadership is responsibility. And you got, buck stops with me, right? And you got to take blame for stuff that you didn't do. So the only way to look at Lily Phillips and condemn the men and not her is to say that the men are supposed to be leaders.
Okay, hold that thought. Put me back in. Yeah, we're going to hang on to this one real quick because I want to show you something that's going to bake your noodle. Let me stop sharing that for a second. I'm going to share you something else with you guys. And I don't know if Matt's been reading my shit or not, but I'll tell you, it certainly sounds like he has been. This is, where'd it go? From the Rational Mail, December 30th, 2014, by some guy named Rollo Tomasi. And it's called Mutiny. And essentially what I wrote in this way back in the day was the more or less what Matt was just saying when it comes to the man who is the actual captain of the ship. And he is the one that is expected to go down with the ship, not the first mate, not the scullery wench, not the riggers and the crew. And he's supposed to go down with the ship, right? And this is probably, I don't know if I want to read all through this, but I also want to point out that if you would be so kind as to look at the date right here at December 30th, 2014, right up there. There you go. Yeah. Long before Orion Taraban lifted the mutiny chapter and put it in his book. Thank you very much. So if you want to know where Orion gets his shit, this is where he gets his shit. But it's more or less exactly what I was talking about with what Matt is talking about as well. It's the leadership has a burden. And sometimes if the shit goes down, if things go bad, it's on you as the guy. And that's part of the burden of performance, right? If your performance is not up to snuff and you fail and you fall on your ass, there are consequences because you're a man and you take responsibility for those consequences. As I was saying before, I don't have a problem with women voting. I don't have a problem with women being in the workforce. I don't have a problem with, quote unquote, female empowerment. What I have a problem with is they're taking responsibility for their own fucking failures. That's the difference. So if you're going to expect me as a man to, kick ass, have ambition, have drive, have fire in my belly, and won't go out and just kill a fucking wild caribou every day. You want me to be that. I also have to accept that there's a sword of Damocles hanging over my head, right? That's the burden of the crown. The burden of the crown is that shit goes down, the king dies dies first. So, but for women, that it doesn't happen. Not in a gynocentric social order, because what they do is they just simply say, well, there's no such thing as a hierarchy. We're 50-50. Well, am I the leader of this marriage or are we 50-50? Because those two one of those concepts is egalitarianism. Everything's 50-50. Everything's equal. Everything's a participation trophy. Or one of those is you're the leader and you're the man. You're supposed to take care of this. Oh, there's an intruder in the house. Go get the baseball bat. You're supposed to defend me when, people attack me. Okay, fine. If that's the case, then now we're not in the round anymore. We're in a fucking hierarchy, baby. And there comes some liabilities on your part to defer to my authority as a result of that. But that's the problem. The real problem is that under sort of quote unquote, I'm going to say gynocentrism because I hate using the term feminism. Under a gynocentric social order, it promotes the idea that women are entitled to old order privileges and standards and everything else, but also entitled to sort of 21st century new order empowerment as well. That empowerment is drawn from the principle of women being, the way women organize society is in the round. It's in an egalitarian, communitarian from that perspective, right? You want to know why we have fields before reels? It's because we have gynocentrism. It's because when women organize societies, they organize it just as the gatherers in the hunter-gatherer tribe would have organized it. So when you have the berry pickers and you have women who are sort of in this collective, the idea of communitarianism, that's strength in numbers. It worked great for them in our ancestral past. That's why women think that way. That's why women default to communitarianism. They don't default to capitalism or social, or they don't capitalism or hierarchies. That's a male way of organizing society. The female way of organizing society is egalitarianism, communitarianism, and ultimately socialism. So in a larger scale, in a national scale, right? So from a local scale, it's always going to be communitarianism. That's why you get the participation trophy nonsense, right? One for you, one for you. Everybody deserves respect, right? No, do you deserve respect or do you earn respect? Because the earning respect, what makes you respectable, is a hierarchical concept, whereas the everybody deserves respect is respect in the fucking round. So when I'm talking about the differences between the ways that women organize society and men organize society, when you distill that down to one instance, in this case, it's going to be like what Lily Phillips here. That's why women say it's those men's fault. They're the ones because they want that old school accountability on the part of men. They want to leave the woman sinless, blameless, and agency-less. And if that's the case, if that's what, ladies, make up your mind now. Do you want the men to be held responsible? Because if you do, then congratulations, you're in a hierarchy and you can go fuck yourself on everything else. Okay. If you don't, and if you're going to put some responsibility on her thing, or if you're going to say, well, you know, everybody's wrong. And unfortunately, that's where Matt actually leaves us. There's no winners. Everybody's a loser here. It's because of the guys who stroke off to this kind of porn. It's because of the guys who participated in it. And it's because of the girls who have to escalate and they want to do it themselves. And it's like, there's never any like research. There's never any like, hey, let's do a background check on Lily. There's never like, is she playing us? Is she pandering to us? Like that other red-haired weirdo, Nala. Hey, I wonder if this girl's been on Fresh and Fit. Maybe we should get somebody on our PR team, on our research team, to actually go see what she's been doing in the past. I wonder if there's any video of her going, Yeah, I thought that was fantastic when that, I think it was Big Mo who made me aware of. Thank you, Big Mo. Wait, there's Big Mo. We got to get Big Mo.
Tell these bitches to go to hell.
There we go. Thank you, Big Mo, for the heads up on that. Yeah, that was funny as hell. But as far as like being the captain of the ship and mutiny and everything else, it's like, well, if that's the case, then we need to have one fucking standard. If you want me to be the leader in the house and as of whatever, then you're going to have to submit to that as authority, because I can't take responsibility for your fucked up actions if I don't have the authority to take responsibility for your fucked up actions. So I'm gonna do one more thing here. I'm gonna let Matt finish this out real quick, because this is actually pretty good. Now, like I said, Matt is sort of coming around finally, and I don't have any like fantasies that he's actually going to be red pill anytime soon, but at least he's starting to sort of parrot back some of the stuff that has been said for a while now.
And the leaders take the blame. That's the only way. Which means you have to abandon feminism entirely. You cannot be a feminist and say that Lily Phillips is being exploited. You can't. The only way to say it is to say that the men are more responsible because they're supposed to be leaders. So any person, any feminist who looks at this as, oh, well, she's the victim, you have abandoned feminism. It's done. You're out. You are out.
Okay, that's where I got to halt this. Okay, we're just real quickly, because I got to throw in my 2 cents here. Matt, it's not feminists. It's your girls. It's the trad femmes. It's the girls on your side of the fucking aisle, my friend, which are all feminists too. See, that's the thing, is like he wants to think that it's like the Laura Dunham, fuchsia haired, purple haired, armpit haired girls that are like out there going, we want men to take responsibility and we don't want it, right? No, it's your girls, Matt. It's the conservative chicks. It's the Hannah Coxes. It's the Natalie, whatever the fuck her name is. It's the Ashley St. Clairs. It's your side of the fence that's doing this. I've yet to see a dyed-in-the-wool feminist come up and say, those men need to be taken to the woodshed and spanked. Nobody's saying that. You know who's saying that? Ashley St. Clair, Hannah Cox, fucking Natalie, whatever the fuck her name is. It's coming from your side. It's coming from the conservatives. I feel like it's my moral duty to explain this to you, man. Like, you need to go and see what your girls are doing, because they're the ones they'll be the first ones to say, well, men need to lead, until they don't need to lead. We don't want them to take over our choices. No, there's never been like, when it comes to like female empowerment, when it comes to like I called it fempowerment, right? But when it comes to like female empowerment or strong independent women, you will never find a more like adamantly feminist group than conservative women, man. They're the ones that are bringing this up. It's not feminists. Well, maybe it is in the sense that those women that I'm talking about are conservative feminists. And that's why it just rakes me over the fucking coals whenever somebody says, oh man, those red pill guys, they're just the flip side of the coin of feminists. No, conservative women are actually the flip side of feminists, as we can see right here in example. But the red pill is just fucking laying it out. We just work here, man. Here it is. You can hold up a mirror. You can look in if you want. I can't make you. But that's the problem is like when guys in the red pill like state something factual and it irritates either feminist, like lefty wokes kind of ideology or conservative ideology. That's why everybody hates the red pill. Everybody hates the red pill. because we're here to rub your noses in it. I'm not trying to be a dick about it. I'm just saying these are the facts. And the facts are, at least from the last, I don't know, what, week and a half, since all this shit went down with Lily Phillips. Like the thing the thing about Lily Phillips is like, from my perspective, is it's like, it's so egregious because I can go and just look at her fucking Twitter profile, Matt, for fuck's sake. I mean, just move quickly and then, avert your eyes. I don't know what you have to do so you don't stroke off. But like, I mean, she's literally doing bukkake videos. She enjoys this shit and you guys are getting played. Michael Knowles, I just talking to you, wherever you are. You're getting played. You're getting played again. Nalafit fucking played you like a fiddle, man, and you're getting played again. That's the thing is, it's like, what is it? Fool me once, my fault. Fool me twice, or fool me once, your fault. Fool me twice, my fault. Guess what? It's your fault, Mike. The thing that's great about this is there's this kind of it's what I call the prodigal son narrative. Like the prodigal son in the Bible, right? Is the son who leaves the family, takes his father's inheritance and goes and goes out and parties and has, loses it all on hookers and blow, right? And then he comes back and he's like, oh, well, it's better to be in my I would rather be like a cleaning the pigs at my father's, mansion than being out here because it sucks out here. So he comes back and his father slays the fatted calf and has a big, huge party for him and everybody welcomes back in the fold. And that's really kind of the narrative that you see happening with Nalafit. I first kind of became aware of this when Roosh decided to go full Orthodox Christian guy, because it was funny to me to see him on shows where really dyed in the wool evangelical Christians, women were just loving on him. He's the most notorious, pickup artist for the last, almost 20 years, right? Well, 15 years, right? And they just welcome him with open arms. They're not even slightly suspicious of him. And because to be suspicious is to question your own faith. And that's the problem with Michael Knowles is he can't unquestioned, stupidly, uncritically. Well, of course Nala's turned Christian. Of course she's got baptized. Look at her. She's not playing. She is playing you. She's making money while she's on your show. It's the same thing with, as more and more people talk about Lily Phillips. She's planning to do 1,000. That was the next thing I was going to say, is her next goal is to get 1,000 dudes in 24 hours, which by the way, Sam, how much time would it take? How many minutes does each guy get if she's going to get 1,000 dudes in 24 hours? That's the next one. Give me the math on that, Sam. I know you're in the chat. 1,000 dudes in 24 hours. Let's break down. Let's do the math on this. And then she's gonna have to break for lunch, right? It was funny in the video. She's like, what? Kids, the guys, have you eaten anything? She says, well, I think I had a yam yam. What the fuck is a yam? It's a pastry or something in the UK. I don't know. And a sandwich. And that was all she had the whole time when she was knocking it out with 100 dudes, right? And remember, she's doing this, and honestly, I think she was inspired to do this by women like Bonnie Blue, women like Annie Knight, who are, at least to their credit, trying to spread it out over the year, not trying to do it all at once. Maybe that's what sort of wore her out. But let me put Matt back in real quick.
What you are saying, this is as dramatic a statement as you could possibly make, reinforcing the most traditionalist idea of so-called gender norms imaginable, okay? You are saying the men are in charge, the men are leaders, they should know better, they should be guiding her, and they're not. That's what you're saying. The problem is that most of the people involved in this discourse are not willing to admit that.
Nope.
Because they want to have it both ways, always.
Yep.
They want to have the cake and eat it too.
Including your girls. Including traditionally conservative chicks. By the way, I want to spread this around because this is not a liberal leftist versus conservative thing. This is women in general, because we brought up 4 generations of women in this sort of empowerment shit where everybody's 50-50 until the shit hits the fan. And now you're the captain of the ship and you go down with the ship. You lost your job. I'm divorcing you. You're not the man I used to know. My needs aren't getting met. Let's make up whatever bullshit I can possibly make up. But it doesn't matter. The fact that she's leaving you is because that's a failure. It's a dereliction of duty, right? It's a failure of your leadership. It's a failure on your part to deal with your burden of performance. It was too much for you, and now I'm leaving you, and I'm totally 100% justified in doing so because you're supposed to be a leader. And you think about how many ways you can exploit that idea for leadership or a lack thereof of leadership on part of that guy. Or maybe the guy who is a leader and her choices are limited, or he's going to go and arrange a marriage for your daughter, right? Or even your son, right? Or he's going to take over every aspect of the family business or every aspect of being, because that's what you expect him to be, a leader. Okay, fine. Well, that comes with a price. That comes with you deferring to his authority. And that's the problem. And I wanted to finish off with that. The problem you're going to have with Matt Walsh is it comes back to I might throw this up there for a second, but it comes back to what Turd Flinging Monkey, TFM, had said as far back as like 2017, 2016, is that responsibility without authority is slavery. And that's what we have right now. That's what he's frustrated with. That's what he's grinding his teeth with. That's the same thing Michael Knowles is going to have to deal with. It's the same thing that Andrew Klavan, the same thing Ben Shapiro, same thing any of these guys in Daily Wire who like pretend to be some sort of traditional conservative guy, right? The reason why he's like Matt is conflicted, man. I've seen him conflicted before, but this is definitely one of those times. And so when I see him talking about his sort of frustration with the fact that it's men's fault, whether if women fail, it's men's fault. If men's fail, that's men's fault. If women succeed, it's women win, right? So it's he's really encountering what the red pill and really like TFM has been saying since 2016. I have the video here. In fact, I think I might throw it up there because I haven't really parsed this video out in a while, but it is responsibility versus authority. And that only comes into question when the shit hits the fan, when there's accountability is thrown into that mix. And I just wrote an article or essay, let's just say, on and it's all new, all original. It's on Substack, and it's accountability is basically a cope. It's we want to use the term accountability when in fact we don't really mean that. We mean comeuppance. We want to see revenge. We want blood. So like when people say, well, Fresh and Fit, they hold these girls accountable. No, they're not. You want to see these girls get their just desserts. That's really what it's about. Because in the same way that accountability is avoided by women, there's the other more extreme side of that where guys say that, well, we want women to be held accountable. So Myron, kick that bitch off the show. No, it's not about her being accountable. It's kick that bitch off the show. She's not going to women don't learn from shit. Like women don't learn from that. They're not going to become better people. They're not going to change their ways. They're not going to, you're not changing anybody's mind by being a dick to them. It might feel good. It might taste good at the end of the day. Oh, this is great. Give me more accountability. But it's not about accountability. It's just about comeuppance. And you want to see women get their comeuppance. Do you know what comeuppance? Do you need me to go to the dictionary to tell you what comeuppance is? It's just basically you get your come up, right? You get the punishment that you deserve. You get what you deserve. And that's really what they're looking for. And it doesn't do anybody any good. We don't learn anything when we're too fixated on revenge or vindication. Nobody's being held accountable. The only way you hold women accountable is you say, look, here's the deal. Do you want me to be the leader in this relationship? Yes, then you will defer authority to me. It's the same thing. I wrote this in the article as well. It's on my Substack. It's the lead article. It's the most recent one. And again, I explore the concept of responsibility and authority. But one of the things that I brought up in there is patriarchy. And really, that's what women really are afraid of. That's why we have shows like The Handmaid's Tale, and they're going to force us into having babies we don't want to have. Well, that's the horror side of what it's not patriarchy, it's androcentrism, whereas gynocentrism is female, a organization, society organized by and for women. That's gynocentrism. A society designed by and for men is androcentrism. Patriarchy is different. Patriarchy is a more balanced system in that patriarchy implies responsibility. So if we're looking at responsibility versus authority, okay, if you reverse those and you have if you have men have all the authority and no responsibility, that's tyranny. If you have responsibility without authority, that's slavery in its most extreme form. So when we're talking about androcentrism or gynocentrism, those are extremes. Those are forms of tyranny. Organizing a society around a one gender makes all the decisions and takes none of the accountability. That's why we're talking about this right now. That's why the first default reflexive response that women have when they see something like Lily Phillips is they say it's the men's fault. They need to take responsibility for that, even though Lily Phillips had the authority over herself. On my body, I'd make my choices, right? Remember all that shit that went down right before the election? Yeah, I do. Remember who said that? I do too. But when women have zero accountability and no responsibility for their actions, and men are the ones that do, and they have no authority to enact or to in any way affect what they would need to be responsible, that's slavery. So androcentrism and gynocentrism are forms of tyranny. Patriarchy, on the other hand, is in its most ideal form is the idea that men are responsible for their children, for their wives, and for themselves, of course. And even in, say like turn of the century, like men were responsible. Like if your kid gets into trouble with the law, you're in trouble with the law. Your wife, bankrupts your company, you're the one that's on the hook for that. It's your name that's on the ledger. Women love to tell you like, oh yeah, we couldn't even have bank accounts until 1974. Yeah, right after the gold standard was abolished. Yeah, I'm sure, of course. But it wasn't because Gloria Steinem gave you the right to have a bank account. It's because the banker said, "Wow, we have fiat currency. I guess the little ladies can have anything they want. Here's a credit card. You've come a long way, baby." But it's not about that. That's not what it was about. The reason why men were only allowed to have bank accounts and everything because women were under the purview of men. So if women went bankrupt, it was the men who were on the hook for that bankruptcy. If women ran the company into the ground, it was men who were on the hook for that company going tits up, right? So until we got past the sexual revolution and the empowerment of women, and now, I think it was shown Aaron Clary not too long ago, the rate by which men versus women repay their student debts. Like men overwhelmingly pay their student debts. Women are still deficient and default on their debts. And so you want to talk about, you want to see in real world numbers, all you have to do is see who defaults the most on their student debts and who repays them. Because overwhelmingly as well, of course, it's women who are taking out more and more student debt more than anything. But that's another example of responsibility versus authority. Okay. And then, of course, what happens is you got like Biden or whoever comes in there and says, we're going to forgive your debt. We're going to forgive some of those student debts. What they're saying is we're going to forgive the little ladies their past indiscretions for getting into arrears on their student debts, because it's overwhelming. I think it's like 1.7 trillion dollars in debt, and like 3/4 of that or 2/3 of that is owned by women. So when they say, oh, we're going to forgive student debt, they're saying, ladies, we're going to forgive your student debt because they're the ones that overwhelmingly default on their debts. It's just another way. It's a stimmy check. It's a stimulus check for women, but they don't want to call it a stimulus check for women. But that's how it kind of parses out. But again, it comes back to responsibility versus authority. And in a patriarchal system, men were responsible for, ideally, were responsible for their women and for their children. But they also had the authority, the implied, deferred, whatever authority to instigate and to assume and affect that responsibility in the first place, because it was still built on a hierarchy, because the man was the leader. So ladies, if you want men, if you're going to blame the men that were part of Lily Phillips, entourage, if that's the case and you need men to step up and it's, women would be better if men would be better, then you, like Matt says, you are by default accepting a state of patriarchy. Because you're presuming that if the man is a leader, that's hierarchy, and you have to be below the leader, and you have to do what the leader says, because that leader has the authority to make you do that. Now, if you disagree with that and you trumpet the bit and you go, it's just like the Handmaid's Tale. If that's you, then get the fuck out and stop and take a responsibility for yourself and start telling women to take responsibility for their own actions. You're going to ask me personally, because I know people are going to ask me this. I personally think that women need to be held accountable, and they need to hold themselves accountable. So I don't have any sort of like optimistic, sort of pie in the sky dream that women are going to just sort of say, okay, well, it's up to you guys. Here you go. Have it all back. That's not going to happen. Even guys wouldn't let that happen, because most guys, the most liberal, wokesy guys, would want to find some way to sort of identify with the feminine so they can get fucked, right? But like, women aren't going to give that back. And I've said this, I will say this one more time, and I got myself into trouble last time I said this, but I will say it one more time, is power and authority is never given. It's never, I'm going to have a little bit of authority. I love it when I hear like pastors at churches say, ladies, you need to let your husband lead. You need to allow him to lead, meaning you're actually in the position of power, but you need to just every now and then let him, give him a little bit, let him lead a little bit, make him think he's like doing something important, right? It's like, yeah, he'll be okay. It's like pandering. It's like, by the way, if you're a pastor and you do that shit, you're part of the fucking problem. So power, authority is never given. It's never afforded. It's never just, okay, well, I guess we're going to have to give the guy some power. Okay, I guess. Power is only taken. Power is, any legitimate form of authority is only ever seized. It's only ever taken back. So if guys get to, I have no fantasy that this will ever happen. So ladies, don't think I'm like advocating for this. This is never going to happen. But if it were to happen, men would need to take that authority back. They would have to seize it back. And in this case, by force. And I don't mean like violence, but I mean just like, well, you clearly can't drive the bus anymore, ladies. If you're going to blame us for the 100 guys that are banging Lily Phillips, and we take the power back and we take the authority back, that's going to cause a lot of problems. You think there's some like pretty nasty articles and essays and everything written by like the Atlantic and all these other wokesy publications because of this? You wait till guys try to take the power back. It will not be pretty. Let me get to some of these super chats. I have been remiss. Sorry. Hey, Rolo, apologies in advance for our English girls. What happened to the show with Myron? We had too many girls at this table. That was number one. If you saw the show, we had 9 girls on the show, which is like almost more than, I think that's probably the most we've ever had in this room.
Yeah. I think so.
And then the other thing is, and I'll be 100% with you guys. Well, Myron and Fresh did a show. They did do a show, but they did it over at Sean Kelly's studio, which, by the way, if I'd have thought about it, I might have reconsidered. But Sean Kelly's got this gigantic, gorgeous, like marble table in the center of this thing. You could probably sit like 20 people at that table. And they did a pretty good show, but we already had the show booked. It was our Christmas show. It was the show that was right before Babes in Toyland. And we just didn't want to have like too much friction going on with the girls, although maybe we should have, considering the show now. Maybe we should have had them on. But we were just, I like Myron is going to be Myron, and if it had been any, Mike said this too. Said if it had been any other show, we probably would have been, hey, we'll make it work out. We'll do whatever we can. But it was right before the Christmas show. It was right before Babes in Toyland, and we weren't trying to cause any friction with anybody. And really, I hate to say it, but it's really tough in Vegas. Myron has a reputation, and a lot of girls don't want to come on a show with Myron. And so we kind of have to get the special girls who want to be on the show, who want a piece of Myron. Like that's whenever we say Fresh and Fit are going to be on Access Vegas, like we have girls that will never go on the show with them. And then we have these girls who are just like foaming at the mouth to get on the show. Like they really want to take them on. So, but we just didn't have enough notice to do that. And like I said, it was a Christmas show, and had it been any other show, we probably would have had it. We probably would have done it. So, and then the thing is then they ended up leaving early. I thought we were going to have time on Friday to actually come in here with the Hodge twins, and Aaron Clary was already set up. We were ready and good to go, but they had to get back for a show in Miami, so that never materialized. So that's really what happened. So, now that you mention it, Daily Wire, thanks to Steven, you got Candace, and now Brett Cooper is who's next. Yeah, Candace is done. We already know that. Brett Cooper. By the way, look, Kyle, back me up on this, okay?
Okay.
Brett, here, give me this one right here. Brett, we need you. Brett. Come to the dark side. Come to Las Vegas. We have cookies.
Should I give the monster voice?
Yeah, give me that one.
Okay. Brett Cooper. Come to the pit that is Las Vegas.
Now's our chance to get Brett to Las Vegas. I would love to have her in the bullpen for the studio here. Brett, we don't pay much, but you can have free run here, and I would love to. God, my dream would be to get like Brett Cooper on this show with Justin Waller across the table and just let him go, like walk out the door, lock the door, and like the one person's left when we come back in. It's like the celebrity death match. Yeah, I would love to have that. Brett, please, like, if you're looking for a new home. Jedediah Bila, same thing. You're always welcome to come out here. I love Jed. Actually, I'm probably gonna have to call Jed's a family friend now, so we kind of have to. I'm gonna talk to her over the Christmas. If money can be made, money will be made. No fault. Yes, thank you, Captain Capitalism. I saw Matt Walsh react to this. Did you? Yes, that's why we were talking about it. Is karma just a cope? Do you want my personal opinion of this, or do you want me to break it down scientifically for you? Is it wishful thinking, or is it a coward's way of thinking? You never mentioned it in your book in religion. Okay, well, I think I did I not? All right, so karma's a cope. It really is. I don't believe in karma. I never have believed in karma. I never, like, if sometimes fucked up shit happens to good people, and sometimes good shit happens to fucked up people. And there's no ledger, there's no balance. You're not going to see, like, sometimes I really want to believe in karma. I really do, especially after Destiny and after all the bullshit that's been going on. And it's like, but karma seems to wait until November 6th. And if karma was real, it wouldn't wait till fucking November 6th, right? I think I was just simply like seeing the patterns and the writing on the wall. And now I'm seeing, Destiny gets fucking raked over the coals and continues to get raked over the coals. The whole shit with Lauren Southern and all that other. The only reason I'm bringing them up because that's the most recent experience I've had with anything like kind of like karma. I think a lot of times when people go, "It is what it is," no, it's not. I'm gonna fucking take off and make my own luck, man. It sounds like fate. It sounds like religion. Well, what comes around goes around. Not all the time. Sometimes,
I never believe karma because you see innocent children get affected by bad shit. Yeah. And it's just like, where's the karma in that?
So, and honestly, I think one of the reasons why I have been more proactive sort of in my, really since I was turned about 45.
Yeah.
It's because I've seen too much shit and I've experienced too much shit. And I'm like, you know what? It's better to be proactive about your life. It comes down to, I've mentioned this on the show before, hypo agency versus hyper agency. Well, what is that? Okay. Hyper agency is, everybody's probably familiar with that. It's like you happen to the world. Hypo agency is the world happens to you. And women kind of fluctuate in between those as convenience dictates. But the thing is like, I think I'm much more hyper agent agent, I guess, agency. Once you get past a certain age, or you have like certain experiences in life, and you realize, you know what, either I can sit around here and blame it on the stars and the moon and the fucking astrology signs and the Venus aligned with Pluto and the barometric pressure in the room or whatever the fuck it is, or I can just simply hunker down and go, you know what, fuck it, I can own it, and I can say my success and my failures are based on me. You want me to be a leader, right? So if I'm responsible for my victories, I'm also responsible for my failures. And really, I think that's a good question, because it kind of works its way back to what Matt Walsh was talking about in responsibility versus authority. And I can't claim that if I can't also say that I am a hyper agent, meaning that I happen to the world. I will I will enforce my will upon the world. And it took me a while to consider that. The reason I said my mid 40s or whatever is because that's when I published the first book. And it took me, I don't know if I've ever said this on the show before. Like, people ask me, like, well, Rollo, what were some of the obstacles? Like, when you wrote the first book, like how hard was it to do it? And the writing of the book was easy. Publishing the book was easy. Hell, even like I had to get past myself. I had to get over myself to even start a blog, because I was at the point where like I came out of the forums, social forums, where we were having these sort of collective conversations all the time. And I was taking mental notes, and I knew where all the really good conversations were. And I took those and elements from each one of these, and I put them into essays that became the essays that were on the blog. And later those essays ended up becoming chapters in the book, right? So really, if you read the first book, it's the aggregate of probably about 12 or 14 years of conversations that took place on the social forums during the early, seduction community years. And those sort of became more unifying principles, and they became like deeper than just like, how do I get my dick wet, right? And that's really, honestly, when people say you're the godfather of the red pill, that's really sort of the germ of the idea of what became the red pill after that. Because they became less about technique and scripts and what you should do. And here's how to pass a shit test, right? Well, I was the one who was asking, why is there a shit test in the first place, right? What's the psychological mechanism behind a shit test? And that's just one of many. We talk about, alpha widows, when we talk about war brides, when we talk about other shit, neg hits, whatever. Why would those be a thing in the first place? And I tried to address that in my fifth book, which is the Player's Handbook. As I said, it's not a how-to book. It's a why it works book. And that's really what my thinking was during that time. And those came from conversations, which became posts, which became something else. But like when I first started the blog and I first started my first publishing my first book, I had to get over myself, because I was like, am I that self-important that people want to hear whatever the fuck I have to say? And the answer was yes. So, and then the rest is, now I'm here doing the show, and Kyle's over there, and we're doing our shit, right? Yeah. So, but the first step was like, I don't know what else to call it, but it was to sort of learn a little bit of like controlled conceitedness, to like be conceited enough and arrogant enough to think that somebody else might want to hear what I have to say. And so once you get past that, and then people respond to it, and in a good way, and you're like helping people and you're saving people's lives and everything else, then that sort of like emboldens you to write a second book and to go bigger and do more things. And so I became more hypo agent. I became more proactive about things during that time. And that's kind of led me to where I am today. But like all of that's like, I can't say there's such a thing as karma. If by karma you mean like what comes around goes around. I honestly think that like people, I do believe this. I don't believe in karma, but I do think that people will be victims of their own sort of pathologies at somewhere along the line. Like when I had to deal with Anthony Johnson, all I had to do was wait, just let him implode. The shit that went down with Glenn Lawrence, the shit that went down with Destiny, the shit that like really, I'm just still waiting on Pearl. She will implode. She will flame out at some point. Like if you look at like a lot of people who are coming at me and trying to like, come up with like sort of like collude against me, like Lauren Southern on the like Brittany Vinci is also one. But there's a lot of people they're all connected. All of these people are connected. And really 9 times out of 10, I just have to be patient. I just have to wait. because they will become victims of their own pathology. They will become victims of the demons that they carry into whatever. And I use demons as a sort of a euphemism here. One of the things that this is maybe an unpopular opinion, but I think one of the problems that, like, say, a guy like Kevin Samuels had was he was a victim of his own success. Same thing with Jordan Peterson, right? If you are a drug addict or you are an alcoholic or you have some sort of like addiction before you're, become a success and you have a lot of money, you're going to carry that addiction, or you're going to carry that sort of failing into you being a millionaire. So now you used to be an alcoholic with no money, and now you're an alcoholic with $10 million in the bank. Or you have you have a benzodiazepine, addiction, and when you're just a college professor, and now you're making 10 million. Now you're making like $80,000 a month off of Patreon, right? You're going to be a millionaire with a benzodiazepine, addiction, and that's probably going to exacerbate. And so, really, 9 times out of 10, all I have to do is wait, because people just will flame out on themselves. Is that karma? Honestly, I just think it's an inevitable result of like people carrying their, the things that they're unresolved issues. And once those unresolved issues become too big to ignore, then they flame out. So, and people are going to hate me. There's your clip. Fuck that guy. I hate Rolo. Show me some 304s that Swolo Tomasi pulled. Oh, wait a minute. Is that what you want? Where is that? Oh, hold on.
I'm like, man, Rolo Tomasi don't get no hoes, man.
Uncle Swallow, those are you opposed to a remedial hypergamy doesn't care podcast? You're referring to Hypergamy Doesn't Care in the first book. Do you want me to? Maybe that would be a good midweek show.
Yeah.
Maybe I could do that maybe I should just do like Red Pill 101 like I used to do with Pat Campbell, and just go over like the basics and the tenets of my book. I think that would be, actually, maybe that's not a bad idea. No, I'm open to it. But as long as I could do it after I'm done at Powerhouse Gym. I got Kylo Tren here, and you got Swallow Tomasi. Yeah. I would do that, sure. Even the possibility that she could pull this stunt is a foreshadowing of disaster regarding men. Tell them to go. Big on, slut. It's like, what's funny to me is like, oh wait, I got this. Funny you should bring that up. Which one is it? Is it this one? Oh, here we go. Big on thought. OnlyFans star Lily Phillips is going for another challenge. Slut Challenge. Slut Wars 2025. With 1,000 men in 24 hours after the dissemination of a video where she lamented for having sex with 100 men in one day. Well, you know what will fix that? 1,000 men in one day. And this, I love this. Lily would look better with your baby making juice on my face. There you go. And I had to throw this one on there because I got it this morning at 8:46 or last. No, it's today. 6 must have been the AM.
This is Australia, right?
Yeah, it's Australia. So yeah,
23
I got it this morning. So she thinks she would look better with your baby batter on her face. Just pointing that out there. Let's see. Ashley St. Clair, Natalie, what's your fucking name? Michael Knowles, all the rest of these guys. Baby batter. That's the secret. Just letting you know. Boy, now I'm really in for it. Ever since I got red pilled in 2020, I keep regressing into an idealized purple pill type mindset, sometimes even black pill. How do I fully embody TRP? Well, you don't fully embody it. That's first, you get your head out of the embodiment thing. Yeah, because you're really kind of applying like mindset. I can't tell you like particularly because I don't know you personally. If I did, if you wanted to do it one-on-one, I'd be happy to do it. When we talk, like people are going to ask me about like what's the purple pill. The purple pill is it's guys who can't quite let go of their blue pill idealism. And so what happens is guys read my book, or maybe they're listening to Ryan Stone or Rich Cooper or somebody else, right? And they get, quote, I got red pilled. The red pill is not a verb. But they sort of have a new way of thinking about things. And The red pill is like, I talk about it as the red pill lens. Like once you put the lens on, they don't come off. It's like those glasses in They Live, like, but they don't come off, right? Once you have them on, you see the aliens everywhere, right? Or obey. So they don't come off, and people really want to find a way back. And the reason why they want to take them off, or they want to be reinserted back into the matrix, like Cypher, right? Is because they're still hung up on the ideals and the hopes and the dreams that they had in the blue pill. And so you'll see this a lot. I think a lot of sort of like quote unquote white pill guys do this, or like the God pill and everything. Well, we think that what Andrew Tate has to say is really good. Get into the gym and make money and everything, except for praise God. It's the balance between those two, and people trying to have one without the other. And the problem is that the blue pill is fundamentally based on lies. It's fundamentally based on inaccurate ideals and conditions. And so people have a really tough time. There's two ways that people like really kind of get stuck with the red pill. One is they get lost in the anger phase, right? They can't get out of the anger phase. And so they'll join the black pill or the doom pill or the MGTOWs or whatever it is, right? And it's like, it's better just not to play the game. That's the only winning move. The game doesn't stop whether you're sitting there jerking off in the corner or not. The game still goes on without you. So then they get stuck in the anger phase. Like it'll never work for me. And then there's the purple pill. And those are the guys who they're still optimistic enough to think that they can actually make the red pill work for them, but they don't want to live in a red pill paradigm. They want to live in a blue pill paradigm, but they want to take what they know from the red pill and apply it so that they can get what they want from if I could just take all these little pick and pull these things out of the red pill and I take them back to sort of my blue pill reality, what I believe is right. And then I can apply them, then I can get those things. And the problem is you will never be able to solve blue pill problems with red pill solutions, because the blue pill is fundamentally based on inaccuracies that the red pill explains. So and the problem with that is I have a chapter in my first book. It's called The Bitter Taste of the Red Pill. The idea is that the purple pill guys are just like, it's a half measure. They want to be able to say, yeah, the red pill's right, but I want to use the red pill to have my white picket fence, my 2.5 kids, my station wagon, my golden retriever, and my beautiful midwife. And I want to be able to have that by using red pill awareness for my blue pill conditioning. The problem is that it never works, because all that bullshit that you thought was idealistically possible in your sort of blue pill paradigm is all fundamentally based on falsehoods. So it's much better, and you actually will be living a much more optimistic life if you kind of like go wholesale into the red pill. Right? I'm not saying you have to be some player and fuck anything on two legs. I'm just saying, in fact, most people don't do that, but they have a red pill marriage based on an accurate assessment of intersexual dynamics, men's nature, women's nature, sort of how the confluence of the two of them. You will live a much better life in a red pill paradigm than trying to do half measures.
But would the problem be that in their own relationship, they're already blue pilled?
Well,
they want to be able to switch out?
They're stuck. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, see, that's the thing is, in the old school red pill Reddit, the married red pill Reddit, there was a concept called awakened while married. And it's guys who are sort of in their blue pill marriages and they're trying to make things work. And they got a fat wife or, kind of a chubby wife, whatever. And they're a sexless marriage. They don't understand why they're not getting laid. They don't understand why, it's like that meme, that Wojak wife meme. They don't understand why they're living with Wojak wife. And so they're awakened. They understand the red pill is correct, but they don't know how to apply it and how to sort of save themselves. That's one of the things I'm doing in Reignite, by the way, is that's actually part of the book now is Awakened While Married, and what to do in those situations. Sort of how to take that red pill understanding and really turn your relationship. If you don't want to get divorced, if you don't want to just end the relationship, most people just end the relationship. That's the easiest. Yeah, the easier way out is just say, well, I'm going to file papers. That's pretty much it, right? But in my third book, in the Positive Masculinity, there are 4 chapters in there. It's a 4-part essay, a 4-part series. It's called The Reconstruction, and I'm going to be including like elements of that in Reignite to help guys who are awakened while married, because most guys They don't want to end their marriage. They're very much in love with their wives. They just want to turn the sex spigot back on. They just want to know, what am I not doing right? Like and most of them are just scared to death of rocking the boat, like of making waves, of like experimenting. Like maybe I should pull her hair and smack her on the ass when I'm fucking her from behind. Like that kind of stuff. They wouldn't even dream of doing that kind of shit or taking any kind of initiative, which the wife would probably respond to.
So put it in a time frame. Do you think that they turn into doomerism or go right back to blue pill actions or whatever? Is it because they just can't take the steps farther?
It just, I think they end up in the black pill, because you got to remember the black pill and MGTOW, doom pill, whatever, those are prescriptions. That's like a way, what they believe is best practices. It's taking the theory and applying it. So the application is just don't do anything, or just like it's hopeless, right? Or and the first thing you were saying was, do they like kind of go back into this blue pill sort of these blue pill ideals, right? Yeah. That only happens primarily when the guys tends to be more religious, because most guys who are like really cling to the blue pill ideals tend to do so because if they were to let them go, it would be a repudiation of their religion. Like they would have to question their faith by doing that. Or they would have to question their faith by like initiating something that would otherwise be like sort of red pill aware. So those tend to be those are really tough like situations for guys. And then you also have taken the fact that there's probably kids in there, and there's also a marriage that might be 10 years old, right? Mm-hmm. Most guys don't use the red pill to become players. They don't use it to, like, guys want to get their dick wet, don't get me wrong. But like most of the guys that I know who I have helped in the past, they're usually looking for answers, and we don't advertise. We don't advertise in a red pill. We don't put billboards up and say, hey, read The Rational Male. People find it because it's word of mouth, or they see it in a forum, or they're going and looking for it. Nine times out of 10, when I've talked to guys who have been like sort of suicidal, they'll go, I just found your book by chance because I was in this user group, or I was in the Reddit thread, and somebody suggested this, and I read it, and it was like amazing to me. I think I had this guy. I shit you not. I need to go find the tweet again, but I had this guy. I might have bookmarked it. This guy told me, or he showed me this link to this other guy in India, and he's not Pajit.
I think I know who you're talking about.
But this guy was a literal guru. Yeah, a guru. What's a guru? I don't even know what the fuck is a guru. Like a literal guru in India, a swami, a guru. I don't know. Who's quoting passages from my book. And I'm like, my book is inspiring literal gurus, like for wisdom of the ages or ancients or some shit like that. And I was like, damn, it's like, that's not something I was thinking about when I was writing, was hypergamy doesn't care. Oh, yes, hypergamy doesn't care. Sitting on the mountaintop. I don't even know what they do. But I thought that was fantastic, man. It's like, it's nice to know that I believe that my work will eventually outlive me. I hope so. I think it will. Let's see. What's the next one here? So typically we're blaming the dudes. When some of them dropped out last minute, she went out of her way to replace them. Yeah, well, she had to have 100, right? She really wanted this. Yeah, well, she did, because the documentary falls apart if she only got like 86 out of 100. That's not a record, right? She beat the record, somebody's record. It was probably Bonnie Blue's record. I beat you, bitch. You're like, oh yeah, 200. What was it? This just in. Sam Bada says, if 1,000 in 13 hours, that's 0.78 minutes each. If 1,000 in 13 hours, if 1,000 in 24 hours, it is 1.44 minutes each. You better be able to rub one out really. Guys, start training now. If you're going to be part of this adventure here, the part of this experiment, you have anxiety. You have you have less than 2 minutes. You have 1.44 minutes to knock one. You better be like, okay, go.
Rolo, they call me the fastest hands in the West.
I'm sorry, man. It's like, I mean, I'm good, right? That good. If 1,000 in 13 hours, it is 0.78 minutes each. Less than a minute. Less than 1 fucking minute. Quick, go. Wait, I can't do it.
It's like a track meet. They have the timer.
They're like popping fucking like Cialis and
Fucking fire.
get ready to go. I mean, do they have to nut? Is that
That's what I was
the rule?
thinking.
Like, what's the accomplishment? What's the benchmark? They just have to put it in and pull it out? Is that how it goes? And she fucked him, right? It's P and V. Whether she got off or he got off. How can you get off in like 0.78 second or less than 60 seconds?
It'd be like 40 seconds, 50.
You bet. Like, Lily, I suggest you get guys who are like 18 to 20 years old. Those guys, they might be able to perform to that level. Unless you're like throwing Xanax. Who the fuck comes up with this shit, man? And that's like not taking any fucking like time to eat or anything. Have a yam. Okay, I got to you. What the fuck is it? Hey Rolo, are we now making prostitution legal as long as you frame it in the lens of content for That's funny you should say that. I brought that up on Access Vegas. We don't call sex anymore. We call it content. Hey, you want to come over and shoot some content? Fuck yeah, I want to shoot some content with you. What is? Imagine me. Hey, explaining to my wife, I'm going to go hang out with this chick. We're just going to shoot a little content. What? No, we're just going on. We're just doing video and IG. Yeah, that's what we call it. We don't call it sex anymore. We call it content. Or it's not prostitution; it's sex work. We have to find euphemisms to dance around the fact that it's prostitution is what it is. I mean, maybe that's something. So if we're gonna seize the authority back, maybe our first as men, our first act of business here is we're gonna start calling whores. We're gonna start calling prostitution.
Well, I'm a whore.
There you go. We're gonna start calling prostitution. Call it what it is, right, at the very least. Yeah, I think we're at a point. It's euphemisms. Is there a new? I don't know if it's a documentary, but I saw this interview between David Duchovny and Henry Rollins, and I think it's supposed to be this one-on-one talk between the two of them. And I don't know if it's like fictional or if it's like a real deal, but it's on Netflix. And I just saw a preview of it, and I forgot the name of it. But David Duchovny from X-Files. And he's talking about how like we have all this wonderful technology right now, but like all we use it for is jerking off. And he's the one that had like the sex addiction, right? So, but it like the conversation was pretty cool. I kind of wanted to see what it was, but I don't know if it's old or new or whatever. But there was this. It was Henry Rollins was the interviewer, which I like quite a bit. After Matt's episode, Ben has got him on the chopping block. Yeah, you're probably right about that. As I said, all I have to do is wait and people will implode. All you have to do is just be patient and people's pathologies will catch up to them. Responsibility with no authority has another name for it: slavery. I think I mentioned that. Once again, men have absolutely no incentive to get involved with a woman in any way, shape, or form. Pay to play and call it a day. Pay to play and call it a day. Well, I mean, if it's just content, then is it prostitution? If you can't tell the difference, does it matter? Where is this? Her mom is her manager. Yeah, that's why I put that. By the way, that's why I put that one video of that one chick and her mom just going, "If you're happy, I'm happy." Yeah, her family, her mom runs the business side of it. I think she does like the books for her. 23 years old too. But she is at the top of her game. Next stop, 10,000 in 24 hours. Yeah. What would that be? What would that be, Sam Bada? You have 3 seconds. Go. 24 hours. She can give each man 8.64 seconds. 8 seconds. We count all 3 holes plus tatas. Jesus Christ, dude. This is a family show. What are you doing out here, Rachel? Yeah. What's this one? A yum yum. It's a rectangular shaped donut. Like a Twinkie? Call it a fucking Twinkie. It's a zinger. I love zingers, man. Remember the
Zingers are good.
Oh man, those are fucking great. I'm gonna get a zinger on the way out. In terms of appearance and age, what do you think Lily's standard is for selecting 1,000 men? Do you think she selects every one of them?
I don't think so. I think it's like they screen her for there.
Yeah, she would have to have handlers, right? Handlers. She would have to have handlers, pick that kind of stuff. I can't imagine she picked every single one of them. Maybe she did. I mean, how picky can you be after 100 guys, right?
I mean, how long would the screening process be? That's the thing.
Yeah. Do you have any diseases? No. How big is your dick? Can you keep it up? Yep. Okay, you're in. Hey, at least Bonnie Blue and Annie Knight, like they're screening for like virgins and for like guys who had sexless marriages. At least they're doing a community service. It's a humanitarian award. She wins it for the Nobel Prize for humanitarian. Has there ever been androcentrism in history? Some people would say yes. I doubt it though. Because people don't call it that. They'd rather call it patriarchy. Matriarchy, patriarchy it rolls off the tongue a whole lot better than androcentrism. But the only reason I'm even using the term androcentrism, you want to read about it, I have an actual essay on my, subscribe to my Substack, please. I wrote a huge thing about, a very long essay about androcentrism, patriarchy, matriarchy, and gynocentrism, and the difference between them. Like, for instance, androcentrism in its like most like over the top, like grossly exaggerated form would be the fantasy world of Gilead in The Handmaid's Tale. That would be a tyrannical society organized by men for men, and at the women have 100% responsibility and 0% authority. Right? They have no bodily autonomy, which of course is why whenever we're voting for Kamala versus Trump, we're going to say it's going to be like The Handmaid's Tale. No, that's fantasy. There's no such thing. But that's the reason why that show's popular, is because it's based on a tyrannical androcentric society. Has there ever been one? I don't know. Please tell me if you think. Give me examples if you think so. 1.44 minutes per man over 24 hours. So you got a minute, maybe minute 30, minute 45. Yeah, I wouldn't even bother. I'd be like, need a little bit more. Come on, you wine and dine me. I need some romance.
You're not first, you're last.
Yeah, I don't get a little blowjob before this. Jesse Austin became a member. Hey, ooh, there you go. Thank you for being a member. I have so few of them. This is for Ned's college friend. Oh, what the hell? Okay, we're gonna send him to college. Actually, it's Anna that needs to go to college. That's a dog. She's a great dog, but man, she's a freaking spitfire. Karma is a stripper down in Industrial Boulevard who dances to Pantera. What was it? You know what they say? Like stripper names is like, it's like any regular name, like if that would end in Y, but they ends in I. So it's Candy with an I, Cindy. Sin, Sindi.
I get Karma from, it was like
Ashley
from Jersey Shore.
Yeah,
because they had the club Karma.
Oh, is there? Oh, is that where that's from?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure. But.
Yeah, probably. Did Pat Campbell red pill early on, or he worked with you on this topic for collaboration? No. Pat Campbell's history with like me is one of his sons. He has lots of sons. One of his sons was in the military and came across my book and then passed it on to his dad. And then one day in 2017, I got this call from this bald headed dude who was just like, "Hey, Roll Tomasi, Pat Campbell, you're going to be on my show tomorrow." That's all it was. I was like, okay, it's going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We're going to talk about bitches and hoes, whatever. It was just straight, like 100% to the point. Like he wasn't taking no for an answer, which is like, "You're going to be on my show tomorrow. All right. You're going to have to get up early though, because you're in a different time zone. All right. What time? 4:00 in the morning." What? But he was, and that sort of, that one phone call, and it was probably all of like 4 or 5 minutes long. And that's history, man. And then we had a really good friendship after that. And he got such a good response from the people in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And he was nationally syndicated too, that he wanted me back on. And then I became a regular bit for him on Fridays. And then I used to come on right after Dr. Everett Piper, who was quite the balance to me because he was, at the time, he was the provost of, I forget the name of it, something university. It was like a Christian university. Now he's since, retired from that job. But I used to have the people would listen to him and he would talk about like all this moralism stuff. And then I'd come on and go, yeah, the sex is the glue that holds a relationship together. Yeah, it was good. Those are some good days, man. It's funny because I actually have some of the audio recordings of that time, and I go back and I listen to those, and it's hard for me to like do that without getting a lump in my throat. Dave, thank you for your $7 Australian dollars. Are you in Australia? Go correct these bitches. There we go. All right. Sammy, what did Sammy say? Okay. Yeah, Pat Campbell was the man. I have, where did it go? I have this to show you guys. We already saw Bonnie Blue, right? Yeah. Oh, jeez. Speaking of accountability.
And I testified falsely against them by saying that they raped me when they didn't. And that was wrong. And I betrayed the trust of a lot of other people who believed in me. And made up a story that wasn't true because I wanted validation from people and not from God. And that was wrong. And I hope that they can forgive me.
Yeah, send one up to the big man first, right? You know who that is? That's one of the accusers of LaCross. The Duke LaCross, at the time, I guess, rape scandal, right?
Yep.
And what was that, 15 years ago? That was in the mid-2000s,
Yeah,
right?
it was like, I don't know if it was mid or early.
Yeah, it was a while ago. I want to say it was 15 years ago.
I'll check it out right now.
Yeah, but she just came out, and this has been making the rounds. What's a shame is we've got Lily Phillips, everybody fixated on this bitch, and then we are basically seeing this woman right here saying it was all fabricated. It was all made up.
From 2006.
2006, yeah, I remember. And if you don't remember the Duke LaCross rape scandal, and I guess I can say that because that's the title of it. It was I remember the one for which one? Oh, Virginia Tech. That was as a VT. The Virginia, yeah, that one. With the chick who was actually basically saying that she was like raped on, it was a frat rape, and it was these guys, I want to say it's Virginia Tech, and Rolling Stone covered it, and Rolling Stone was held responsible for essentially a rape hoax of $4.5, I think $5 million, which is like nothing considering how many of these guys that were involved in it. And the problem with this is that now, when you come out of this, it's like there's no accountability, right? Again, this sort of goes back with our theme for today. Is there's no Virginia Tech? I think you're right, but there's no accountability for it. At least Rolling Stone magazine, like I would never. If anybody wants to quote Rolling Stone magazine, all I'm going to say is these are the same people who like actively participated in a rape hoax and proven so. And bore the brunt of it, the financial brunt of it as well. I forget the name of the fraternity that brought the suit against them, but the problem is it's not even so much that, I mean, the money's one thing, being sort of exonerated from it, that's another thing. The other problem is that it will never go away. Like these guys, the guys in the Duke LaCross thing, those guys have probably been dealing with this for most of their lives. Oh, you were on Duke, yeah? What did you play? Lacrosse? Really? Anytime that there is a false accusation, it's not, no amount of money is going to wipe away the sort of the taint, right? The stink of the fact that you were involved in the first place. Like I forget the guy's name. There's a guy I think it was in Central Florida. One of these guys who was an aspiring, had a very brilliant career as a football player ahead of him. had one rape accusation, which was actually he was completely exonerated from, could never play in the NFL.
Was it 2002?
Something like that.
Because I remember like Brian Banks.
It might have been.
Because that was like from 2000.
Yeah, it would have been. Let's see. No, because I remember I was in Orlando at the time, so it might have been. Yeah. Yeah. You want to talk about accountability? There's no accountability for that, but there's 100% accountability for the guys, even when they're exonerated. There's still you can't get a job, you can't play in the NFL, you can't play on this team, you can't do that, just because we don't want to have the public public doubt that the possibility might exist that we actually let you play on Florida State because even because you got exonerated. It just simply doesn't happen. Your life is ruined as a result of that.
Sean Oakman. He was like, he had a crazy ass career in football, college football, got accused, lost it all, never got to the NFL. I think he plays in Canada right now.
Yeah. Or that one guy, the pitcher for the Dodgers.
Yep.
That guy whose name escapes me. Well, me and Mike talked about that guy for a little while. But even if there's an accusation, even if you're exonerated, you're 100% proven innocent, not guilty, not guilty, innocent. You're 100% innocent. Doesn't matter. There's still that asterisk by your name. And so what gets me is that if you want accountability, and this is like, you want guys to step up, you want men to be the leaders, you want men to do all this stuff, like, then there's going to have to be a reckoning. There's going to have to be some sort of accountability. And so what everybody says, and this is not the first time, but like the very fact that this chick is coming out and she was, one of the LaCross, participants, whatever. The fact of the matter is like, here we are 15 some odd years later, and it's sort of like this literally come to Jesus moment. And there's no consequences. There's no reckoning. There's no responsibility. And of course, what everybody says is, well, she should have to go to jail, or she should have to endure the punishment that those guys would have had to endure. And the problem I would say with that is that can never happen, because you can't apply that kind of like stigma, even like I said, even if you're proven innocent, you can't apply that to that woman, because it just simply, it doesn't stick, right? So law of Hammurabi, right? You are found guilty of if you're accusing somebody and he's found innocent, then you suffer the punishment that he would have had he been found guilty, right? That doesn't happen, and never will. I keep saying this, but every time I see something like this happen is, what is it? A very well studied, well researched phenomenon is that women are sentenced to much more lenient punishment, prison sentences, than men are for the same crimes. And I love it when I have to sort of say, when guys come up to me, or when I have to deal with asshats Alex from a date psych, right? I was here about accountability. Well, what's the accountability? Who should be held accountable? How should we hold them accountable? Where should we start with something like this? I go, well, first of all, you can start with the selective services. That's number one. That would be a great accountability, beginning. The other is, how about prison sentences? We could start there, because right now there's a separate standard of justice for women that is not for men that is not applied to women. Men and women have separate standards of justice. That would be a place to hold. That's literally accountability. Can we start there? Don't try to pin me on that to say, oh, these guys want accountability. They don't even really want accountability. They don't know what they're talking about. No, I do. Absolutely. I'll give you two examples right now. As I said, selective services and prison sentencing. Those two right there would be great places to start. And not because I'm mad at women or anything like that. I'm just saying, if you want equality, you want that fucking blanket equality, you want to have a parity of gender parity, let's start with those two things. You want men to be leaders? Guess what? Here's what men, we're leaders. Here's what we're going to start. We're going to start applying the same standard to selective services that men do. And we're going to apply the same standards of sentencing for men and for women, so that there's equal, punishment under law, whatever it is, right? We can start there. Crickets. Nothing. I actually had that conversation. I had a Twitter sort of exchange once with Alex about that. Nothing. Because I know what the fuck I'm talking about. There's other examples. Would you like me to get them too?
What's crazy? She's in prison right now too for
Really?
second-degree murder and arson and all this other shit too.
Oh, so she's fucked. She has no other reason. She has no reason not to, come clean. Jesus Christ. The Mustang Ranch. Thank you. I know where it is. You can, no, don't give me the address. Caters and food is surprisingly delicious. I've heard the same, actually.
It's like Hong Kong
Yes.
and Tijuana.
I've heard the same, but I did not pay for dessert. Mustang Ranch. If you don't know the Mustang Ranch is, it's one of the more famous brothels in Nevada. It is in Mound House, Nevada. It's just a little bit outside of Carson City. The reason I know is because on the other side of the mountain is Dayton. That's where my brother lives. I can remember. Would you like a quick story? I'll give you a quick story. If you live in the Reno area, Reno, Carson City area, you pretty much know where the brothels are. Okay. The Moonlight Bunny Ranch is there. You've probably seen the reality show with the Moonlight Bunny Ranch. Okay. There's that ranch is there. Mustang Ranch is there. There's some other ranches there. But my brother lived in Dayton, and you have to go from Carson through Mound House, which is like at the top of this hill. And that's where the brothels are. And then you go over the hill into Dayton. Right. And I remember the first time I was making that trip with my daughter. I think my daughter's like 7 or 8 years old. She goes, "Oh, a bunny ranch." I was like, "No, honey, that's not what you think." You just keep the eyes forward, just keep going. It's pretty discreet. They're off the road and everything, but they put signs, big old, neon signs. "Hey, bunny ranch here, world famous. Hey, there's bunnies." No, not those kind of bunnies, baby. Just keep going.
Just them snow bunny.
Yeah. The best part was, according to the documentary, she had thousands of men and narrowed it down even for a free-for-all. She decided who got to play. So she didn't have to worry about there only being 86 of the 100. She probably had some pinch hitters, right? Some guys well, you're first alternate in case this guy doesn't show up. I wonder if they did that. I wonder if they had like sort of like a list. They had a reserve, we'll be able to keep 10 guys in reserve in case these guys pussy out. Wow. Yeah, free pussy. Why don't you say free beer too? Yeah, free pussy and beer. Oh, well, okay, if I have to.
It's all about profit margin.
Yep. Can you reiterate or explain the idea of feminism is all a giant shit test? Okay. It is in the sense. Okay, so here's the thing: is when you are sort of blue pill conditioned, you have this sort of social narrative sort of playing in your head. Like there's certain things you do and you don't do. You don't want to step on women's feet. You don't want to offend them. You don't want to. It's like walking on eggshells. Any like stereotypical blue pill guy, or some guys you would call like manginas or whatever. I don't know. Weesh guys. I like that term. There's a sort of a social narrative that you learn as a guy from the time you're like 5 years old until you're into your adulthood, that if you want to get laid and you want to be, you want to in some way become intimate with women, you've got to sort of play this game. And it's really kind of like the rules of that game are dictated by feminism. We want women to think that we're good listeners and we're supportive and we're sensitive and we identify with the feminine and we're allies. God, that fucking word. I just read that on Justin Baldoni's site. Justin Baldoni got this award for like being a female ally recently, and I'm like, bravo, well done. You set back the male species for like fucking to the Stone Age. But like to be better, sort of like I don't know, compliant, let's just say, or in agreement and compliance with feminism. And we don't really realize that we are until we are forced to make a decision, or like, as I said before, like mental point of origin. When I talk about mental point of origin, a lot of guys don't even realize that their mental point of origin is women until they're forced to make a decision, or they have to just like reflexively respond to something. So for instance, I'll just give you a quick one. Whenever I say something that is sort of unflattering to female nature, there's always a dude there that goes, well, yeah, but men do this too, right? Yeah, but you got to remember men X, Y, and Z. Doesn't matter what it is, right? You can say, well, women's nature is X, right? yeah, but you know, men have X too. And I know some guys who do the same thing, Y and X. And so this idea is that their reflexive response is to defend the woman by saying, well, you know, men are also sort of complicit in this. That reflexive response is the product of their mental point of origin being fixated on women. And that's really the sort of the feminist kind of thing that you're talking about here, is that feminism is a giant shit test. The guys who go against that, the guys with the balls and the sack to fucking say, you know what, I'm going to, like Myron Gaines, right? He's going to say shit that's very much against the feminine imperative. He's very much going to say something that's sort of if you say anything that's critical of female nature, it's seen as misogyny. If you are willing to sort of like say, you know, you're a jerk. Okay, I guess I'm a jerk. Oh, you're a misogynist. I guess I'm a misogynist for telling the truth, right? It's not about my sentiment. It's about the facts themselves, right? So to go against that, the whole big shit test is this, is are you the kind of guy who will go against the world, against popular opinion, whatever? And are you going to, because those kinds of shit tests, those global shit tests that are rooted in feminism are tests that most guys won't even consider, or they don't even realize are being tested. So to go against that proves your quality. To go against that narrative, that globalized narrative of feminism, is sort of like you're passing the shit test. So when I say, you know, feminism is a gigantic shit test, it's all of the things that sort of comprise that and puts women in a sort of a superior place, whatever it is, or all of the principles of feminism that sort of are run counter to female nature, male nature, evolved human nature, whatever it is. Egalitarianism, doesn't matter what it could be, all in the guise of, you know, female gender parity, right? If you go against that, you're basically passing that shit test. So that's, in a nutshell, that's how it is. If you want to read more about that, I think I put most of that in the third book, in Positive Masculinity. Can you give a specific example of why you hate Pearl so much? Oh, I can give you probably 7 specific examples of why I hate Pearl so much. You're the OG and she has no red pill authority, but why the extreme hate? I find her entertaining. Yeah, that's it. You find her entertaining. She's not educational, but you act like she's hurting the red pill wearers. She is hurting the red pill wearers. I'll give you one quick example. This is probably the most universal. Like, I have a lot of like specifics I could tell you. But from a more sort of like an easy to understand global one is she is, I mentioned this earlier this year, or maybe it was last year. It was right after I went on Dr. Phil, and it was that kid, Ben, who came on before me. And the reason why they put Ben on there before me is he's very autistic. He haven't told me later on. He was on the spectrum and he had a Asperger's syndrome or something like that. And really the reason why they brought him on, and they brought him on first, was to characterize the red pill and the manosphere as ridiculous. Because if you look at this guy, he's supposed to be a sex coach. He's got this big bald egg head. He basically can't string sentences together very well. But the reason why they brought him out there and they put him up before me and before everybody else was to sort of give you sort of this, it was to sort of preset the narrative. Like, the red pill is ridiculous. This guy is a representative of Andrew. He's a follower. He's a acolyte of Andrew Tate. And this is what they're really all about. And they're ridiculous. Just look at this guy. He can't get laid. Look at him. Who would fuck this guy? This guy is socially awkward. You can tell he's on the spectrum, all this stuff. So his only purpose for that show was to be ridiculous. He was to be pilloried. He was the whipping boy that they wanted on there, and they pandered to him. And you got Dr. Phil, who's like really kind of like, you know, sort of half serious and half not serious. And you know, the audience is laughing at him because, and he doesn't even know why, because he's actually believes in his own bullshit. Right. And he's out there. And then I looked at that, and then I come on, and they were thinking that I was going to be I was just going to roll over. They weren't expecting someone like me on that show. And so I just went in there and just fucking cleaned house. But the reason why I was fighting back from a deficit was because they had already preset the impression. The first impression of the red pill was supposed to be Ben. That's what Pearl is. Pearl is fucking Ben. She's there to be ridiculous. She's there so people can put her up, and she's there to be pilloried. If you've ever seen any of the stuff that she's done on larger formats, if you look at her on like Jubilee, if you look at her on Ethan Klein H3H3, if you look at her on certainly on Daily Wire, you look at her on very, very obvious on Piers Morgan. Look at her on any of those shows and larger ones too. She's there as a Ben. She's there as a whipping boy. She's there to preset the narrative of the manosphere, of the red pill, as being fucking ridiculous. And every time she shits the bed, I'm the one that has to go clean it up. And I don't get on those shows. They don't call me. They don't ask me. In fact, she's the one who is basically, this was like earlier this year, but attempted to use my fucking name to get Jim Sexton onto the Daily Wire. Now, we're going to have Rollo Tomasi on here. We want to have you and Rollo and Pearl and Michael Knowles. I don't know who else was supposed to be on there. And then I get back with them and I talk to these guys and they say, oh, that's okay. We've already filled your role. Now, what they didn't know is that me and Jim Sexton are pretty tight and we talk to each other quite a bit. Like back then, it was at least once or twice a week, right? And I have people on the inside of that know shit about shit. And essentially, one of the things she tried to do was basically bait and switch my name. She wanted to use my name, so Jim would agree to going on the Daily Wire with her and Michael Knowles, and where basically he would carry the whole fucking show. And she wanted that for legitimacy. She didn't get that. Instead, what happened is Jim Sexton went solo with Matt Walsh, and she went solo with Michael Knowles, and she just got fucking worked. I mean, she doesn't know what she's talking about. And she needs people to bail her out. She's still fucking around with Nick Fuentes. She's still, making mistakes. She's basically Ben. She's the whipping boy, and she makes the entire manosphere will be better when she's erased, when she goes away. The world will be a better place without Pearl. Simple as that. She's a shit human being. There's other reasons I have to say about that. I'm not going to go into those right now. But she, if you still think she's worthwhile, she just haven't outlived your usefulness to her. She will throw you under the bus as soon as fucking smile at you. So that's that. There's your specific example. Would you like another specific example? My roommate in the Navy. Oh, nuke. My roommate in the Navy got accused of grape. I guess I've been saying it for a while, so it's all right. In college before joining, no charges, but lost his football scholarship. He couldn't date women for years after that. It broke him. He was accused by his girlfriend. Yep. You could be completely exonerated, and that's the end of you. And I don't think women realize the life damaging potential of a false rape accusation. The power vacuum left by the Tyson Paul fight and the elections was the best opportunity she ever had to release that shit. It was well calculated. I'm glad you brought that up. It's funny. That's one thing I didn't get to. Now, here's what I was going to say is the whole Lily thing is, it's timed. You're correct about that. It's very well timed, but it's also another example of what I was saying when Adam 22 was promoting Lena the Plug and Jason Love and their porn movie, right? Oh, I let this guy bang my wife, right? That was sort of like the shot across the bow. I remember when that first went down, and to this day I'll still have these arguments with Mike because Mike doesn't think it was a shtick. As far as I'm concerned, it was a shtick. You'll see things like this. What will happen is there'll be like these things that it's part of engagement media, which we're all involved in right now. Like the very fact that you're in the chat right now, I'm talking to you live stream. Like you guys can chat, you can super chat, or sometimes I just look at what you're saying and you can alter the course of the conversation. All right. So what this is that's why I love live streaming. I would much rather live stream than do recorded content. Now I will do recorded content, but it's kind of like a different animal to me. I enjoy the back and forth. And the reason why I do is because I spent so much time in the forums back in the day in the seduction community times, because we would have this back. That's what I love, man. I love to be able to listen to people live in real time and like they can affect the direction of the conversation. Like what I was just saying before, like when I was on Dr. Phil, one of the things about Dr. Phil is everything is like so tightly controlled. right? They have just this army of production, staff that are doing everything and getting you here and by the way, anytime you see anything on those shows, all of the things that happen and all the events that happen during that show happen at a specific time. So if they're asking a question off of the 3x5 cue card or whatever, it's supposed to happen at 3:05 p.m. And that's when it happens. Like, everything is so tightly. I don't think people really realize how tightly controlled it is. I hate that shit. I come from that's why I couldn't keep my mouth shut. That's why I got into trouble on like when I said, "Oh, so you're superfluous?" Dude, I had an out of body experience when I said that. By the way, I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I just said that," because I come like I'll just bullshit with you like live in real time, right? And so I had to remember that it was a live studio audience, but they were recording it, and there's no live chat. There's no. I'm thinking in my mind, right? When people watch this on YouTube or they watch this later online, like what people are going to say in the chat when this goes live, because that it'll be a premiere or something like that. And people want to talk about it, but it's what I call engagement media. And engagement media is anything where the audience can participate in the actual course of the conversation, or it can affect the course of the show. So effectively, like OnlyFans is a form of engagement media, because you're there watching her live in real time and say, "Hey, here's a tip. Here's $20. Take off your panties," right? And she takes off her panties, right? That's the part of that engagement. Live streaming right now, you guys sent me something. I'm not taking off my panties. Thank you very much. But I will answer your questions, and I'll just tell you about hypergamy. I'll tell you about Pearl. I'll tell you whatever. But you just basically affected the course of the conversation. You can't do that when you're in like a very tightly controlled video kind of thing. And honestly, that's the wave of the future. But the problem is there's exploitations. Take your panties off. There's exploitations that come as a result of that, and you can scale that up. And that's really kind of what Adam 22 did. And now this is me spitballing here. I can't prove this, but I can sort of, because I've seen other people like follow the same theme. So when Adam 22 and his wife, Lena the Plug, decided they were going to let Jason Love like ride her to glory, they wanted to, you couldn't just create the film and create the video and put it out there. I mean, people would probably respond to it, but how awesome would it be if you have No Jumper go out there and say, "Well, I have a problem with Jason Love now because, at first I was comfortable with it and now I'm not." That creates controversy. People want to join the conversation. And guess what? It's not just one live stream on No Jumper. It's everybody in the fucking manosphere. It's everybody in YouTube. It's everybody online. Everybody starts talking about it, and exponentially the buzz starts to build. It starts to build. And there's one event, and it happens a week from now or 2 weeks from now, right? And it's the release of the video of Lena the Plug and Jason Love, right? And so you're building it up, and then suddenly he's got a problem with Jason. Jason has a problem with him, and it's still fucking professional wrestling, man. It's kayfabe, right? Everybody has a problem with it. Nobody has a problem with anybody there, but they're just sort of this back and forth. They have Destiny on fucking No Jumper to talk about like how he felt bad about letting somebody fuck his wife. Come on, man. That's not organic. I'm sorry, that is not fucking organic. They had him in there because they knew that he was the dude is like, who can we get on? We were talking about cuckoldry. I wonder who. That blue-haired kid. Yeah. So like that, come on, man. I know because I was in the studio when that bullshit happened, because I was interviewing with another dude. So it's engagement media, but it's like ramped up. So it's not just one show. It's the entire narrative becomes engagement media. And then you got like DJ Academics, who has his watch party set up, and he wants to, so he's making money off. He's getting engagement off of like sort of third party from what was going on with Adam 22. Right? Well, now let's go and take that to like Logan Paul and that. Who was the guy he fought? And he was talking shit about his. Did they get married? Did Logan Paul and that other chick get married? They actually did.
I'm pretty sure.
Because,
I'll find out right now.
Because who was the guy? Dylan something or other was
Dylan Dennis.
Yeah. He starts talking about, "Oh, your wife's a whore. Your girl's she's been with everybody." And it's fun. I tell you what's funny is I talked to Adam Sosnick, and he goes, "Yeah, I used to date that girl." Like Adam Sosnick, holy shit, and so apparently she got around, right? But he was in love. He got down on one knee, gave her the ring, and everybody. And it happens right a week before the event. What's the event? The fight between Logan Paul and Dylan Dennis, right? And Dylan Dennis is talking shit about his fiance. Well, now you want to see this guy. Now you want to see him rip his head off. Kill him, Logan.
Yeah, they're having a kid too.
So
they're engaged, not
Oh my
married
God.
yet, but
So they're still engaged.
yeah, they're engaged.
Really? So they're doing this whole thing and this build up and this shtick, right? So, but everybody's engaged in it. Everybody had something to say about Logan Paul and Dylan Dennis, right? Oh, he shouldn't have said that about her. You don't talk about a woman's life like that. But she is a whore. She's been with so many guys. Oh, look, Adam Sosnick fucked her. That kind of stuff. And it builds and builds. It's engagement media. So now a third party, like he didn't, but he could. Adam Sosnick could have been talking shit about him. And now that builds what? It builds the event until the event happens. And then it's a bigger event because they built it up with engagement media. Now, let's take this and let's put it into the realm of pornography again with Lily Phillips, right? So she's done 100 guys. Now she's talking about doing 1,000 guys. What's the event? Fucking 1,000 guys. Well, she's done this. She felt bad about it. She was crying about it. And everybody has sympathy for her. And it makes me wonder when she finally does start banging 1,000 guys, if the same TradCon chicks are going to like jump on board and say, "Oh, we're going to pray for her until she stops." That's not going to happen. But again, it's the event and what's the buildup. And really, it's a play on the engagement media. That this is me spitballing. I can't say for sure, but this is what I suspect it is that she's done work with Bonnie Blue. She's done work with Annie Knight, and they are infamous, notorious for banging. Well, like I said, Annie Knight is at 650, something like that. Bonnie Blue, notorious for going to wherever spring break places and like basically lining up guys outside the hotel room and fucking guys. And that's what she does. And she's in this competition with she and Annie Knight are in this competition of who can fuck more guys in 1 year's span. Well, then along comes Lily Phillips and she says, "Hold my beer. I'm going to fuck 100 guys in one night." Right. And now she's up the ante. She's up the scales, right? Or they're escalating it. And really, honestly, I think that's where she got the idea to do this. And everybody's playing along with it. Matt Walsh, I'm playing along with it. I admit I'm doing a whole fucking show about it. Okay. Yeah. But everybody's talking about it. And they're going to continue. Matt, Fresh and Fit talking about it. She was on Fresh and Fit, for fuck's sake. Matt Walsh, Candace Owens. I'm sure Brett Cooper would be talking about it if she had a show. Come here today. Her replacement is probably talking. But wait, here we go. Poor Brett. Made a deal with the devil. But no, I again, we're talking about it, and I'm getting engagement and you guys, by the way, you're in the chat, you're talking shit, you're giving me super chats. You're an accomplice to this. But everybody's talking about it. And what does that do? It builds up she's made $10 million off of it. I don't know how much. I wonder how much the guy who shot the documentary is making off of this. I don't know. That would be actually, I'm curious to know. And I'm curious to know if he'll cover that same dude, the documentary guy. I'm curious to know if he'll cover the 1,000 dudes. That was a lot of dudes in here. We need what would you do? Like, how would you you would have to like set up particular times. Okay, you're number 941. You're supposed to be here at 12:32 p.m. Because otherwise, how would you do that? You have to go to like a basketball stadium or something, like high school basketball court or something, and pack them in. Like, how would you get 1,000 guys? Oh, your turn. Yep. How was it? Oh, great. Will they get snacks afterwards?
Yeah, right.
Like, what do you get? What's your reward for participating? Thank you for fucking. But honestly, it's part of that. If you're going to ask me, this is my opinion. It's part of that same the theme, anyways, of engagement media, of viral engagement media, of building it and building it and building it. And every time you've got one of these trad femme chicks crying about it and saying, "Oh, this is like the decline and fall of Western civilization," that is just building the narrative. That's just building her her rep that much bigger. And you know how I know that? Just go to her Twitter profile. There's no remorse, no repent. You know, I know it's a Metallica song. There's no regret. She's you know, crocodile tears. Same thing with Nala Fit, man. Nala Fit cops to the fact that she was fucking with everybody. She knew the game. These chicks know this. I have this, you know, I got this one picture. I was kind of like wondering whether or not I should put it on here, but I think I will now. And it's not anything too inappropriate. Well, no. I mean, I won't get a nudity strike, put it that way. But this is a picture of our girl. Where'd she go? There it is. So this is our girl right there. This is fairly recent. Okay. This is our Lily Phillips, you know, like you wrap that mouth around that fucking Shure microphone. So that's, you know, what's funny is I put that on because I was considering using that as like a thumbnail. I just was too goofy. But I found that on Twitter, and I had some guys go like, why does she do that? That's so annoying. Why does she do that? I go, because she knows it triggers you. Because she knows this look right here makes you fucking crazy. And I don't mean like, oh, I want to get laid crazy. It makes you crazy because you look at that and you go, oh God, what a thought. Oh God, what a whore, whatever. That's what she wants. That's what sells more subscriptions. That's what made her $10 million off of this whole fucking thing. That's what she's looking for. She wants that response, that visceral, that's what she's looking for. Trump is the beginning of the end of false accusations because ABC's George Stephanopoulos and The View fucked around and found out and got an attorney with the truth on your side. Well, really? Stephanopoulos was involved in that? Would you say, is it amnesty is only ever taught to men? Amenity is only ever taught to men? You mean like to be agreeable? To go along to get along? Yeah. Remember Camille Paglia, we raise our boys as if they're defective girls. That's definitely part of that, raising boys as defective girls. So yeah, I think I would agree with that. Oops, wait, this is in a nutshell, Pearl is the Kamala Harris of the Red Pill. Well, if I go that far, she's definitely the Ben of the Red Pill. I'm starting a new job in social media. We do short and long form content for local businesses. Talent acquisition is one of my job responsibilities. Any advice? Yes. Start working for OnlyFans, girls. Get into the business. Apparently there's a lot of money in casting, central casting. Yeah, there you go. Talent acquisition. I'll tell you what's funny is when I think one of the reasons we called the show Access Vegas is because Mike had and still does have the access to all these places, right? That was why, like, I came up with the name and it's kind of stuck when we call it Access Vegas. Now I realize it's like Access Hollywood, Access is whatever. I don't care. I thought it was appropriate for what we do, and that's how we got the name. But again, it's one of the things that I look for when I am developing the shows and I'm putting stuff out. You know, we want to do topics and everything else. When we're looking for girls to be on the show, I mean, obviously we repeat some of the girls because we think that they had a really good take and we want to hear what they have to say about, you know, whatever it is that we're getting into again, obviously. But as far as the talent acquisition is concerned, and then maybe this helps you out a little bit here, Redneck, is that's really what shows are built upon. You can have multi-million-dollar studio. Lord knows, Sticky Paws learned the hard way, right? You can have multi-million-dollar show or studios and have no fucking talent, and have no hit shows. I don't care. Like, what was it? Alpha. What's this? God damn it! What's the guy's name? I don't say it's Alpha Mindset. I forget the guy, the black guy with all he does is just like he has a laptop and that's all he does. And Alpha Male Strategies, that's what it was. Alpha Male Strategies. All he ever did, I mean, I don't know if he's doing anything different now, but I think a lot of people really still do love his stuff. I do. I thought it was great, right? But all he ever does is his shows from just a laptop, right? And he uses the camera, and that's how he does it. And he talks to the camera, and that's what he does. He doesn't have a big, $10,000 studio or anything in the back. Now there's a certain amount of polish, but none of this shit. And I have producer Kyle here and all this great stuff, but none of this shit matters unless there's talent in this fucking room. And you want to know, I feel like I can say this now, but like if you want to know why Valuetainment is in such bad shape right now, it's because he got no shows. The only person at Valuetainment is Patrick Bet David. Sosnick, I love me some Adam Sosnick, but I don't like who he's married to. I think Adam would be really if you could cut Adam away from Valuetainment, he would probably have some really good hit shows, but not while he's there. And I was talking to your brother, to Miguel, like one of the reasons why we moved into this studio is because the arrangement that I was trying to work out with Valuetainment at the time was just basically they wanted me as an employee and they wanted to own my content. And we'll give you the studio, but you got to move your happy ass out here from Reno, and you got to take on all this, take up a bet on yourself, And I have been doing this long enough that I'm not about to have a boss. I don't want to work for anybody. I work for me. Okay? And I thought it was kind of like a fucking spit in the face at the time, because I had been helping Adam with his show. I was helping Jedediah Bila, which were the only two shows that Valuetainment had. And then Jed leaves about a year later, not even that, like fucking 8 months later. She's out. I think she broke her contract. She hasn't really told me what happened with that, but I would presume she broke her contract. They own her logo. They own the Jedediah Bila show. And I'm glad I made the decision I did. And then of course the rest is history. Like me and Miguel said, let's do it in Vegas. We did it in Vegas. And so, but the reason why like Valuetainment has a actually two of them, multi-million-dollar studios, and they got staff and everything else. They got no fucking talent. They have no fucking shows, except for Patrick Bet David, who can carry himself. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the guy gets some really big, heavy hitters, and Mike Tyson, and he gets like a lot of the political guys come in there, and he's had Jordan Peterson. I've been on the show. He's got his own thing, but he doesn't need a multi-million-dollar studio to do his show. But it comes down to who do you have as talent, and that's the real bet. So if you're going to be a talent acquisition guy, you're doing God's work, man. Trying to find somebody to come in and do a really good show is you can find somebody. It's almost like back in the day when you're looking for like the next hit band. Like you have these A&R guys who come down to the Hollywood Strip, and they go, "Oh, this band Poison. All right, we're gonna have this guy's," And then what happens is that you have an A&R guy, artist and recording or something like that. An A&R guy from the record label would then help develop the band. So like if you look at like the old school band, you want to know why a lot like people are still like going to see a Poison concert or Motley Crue or whatever. It's because they had people along the way, and this is just how the music industry was back then. You had people along the way who would take them from Too Fast for Love, or what was it? Live, what was the first one on the Motley Crue album? Too Fast for Love. You had Too Fast for Love, but then you had Shout at the Devil, and then you had Theater Pain, and now they're glam. They went from like worshiping the devil to like feathers shooting out their ass, and then you have Girls, 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 Now they're motorcycle, now they're bikers. Dr. Feelgood, so that what would happen is like you would like sort of evolve along with the band and the look and the sound and everything else. And they became, I used to do that in the 70s, like Led Zeppelin did the same thing, and Kiss certainly did the same thing. But it wasn't the same band from like when they started to when they more or less ended, right?
Constantly rebranding.
Because they're constantly moving them along. And if you could find somebody in sort of like the podcast sense, because I'm not the same guy I was when I was interviewing Andrew Tate, thank you, back in 2017. I hate it when I see that because people use those old ones. I was sitting in my my home studio. I had no lighting. I had one, like, it wasn't even a camera. It was like one of those like webcam things that you put on top of the screen kind of thing. A Logitech. Yeah. You plug it in the USB. Webcam. Yeah, it was a webcam. I didn't know any different, and I was so proud that I had like one mic that would work. And then I look at myself and I go, holy shit, man! It was thin as a rail, and oh my god, white as a sheet. Definitely not on TRT. But then I look at those, and then I look at the 21 convention days, and then I sort of look at things as I'm the one that sort of developed myself into like I'll probably do something different next year. People keep asking me, when are you going to cut your hair, Rolo? Might be soon, might not. As long as I'm in a band, I probably won't cut my hair. But if I'm not in a band, then I might consider it. I told Joe Marin, because Joe's bald as hell. I said, Joe, if I ever cut my hair, you're going to do it, and we'll do it live on screen. You're going to do it, and I'll just go bald. People think I'm bald anyway. People think I look like Riff Raff from like Rocky Horror Picture Show. Regardless of what she does, but what is the point of this all? Haven't seen any guy do it. Regardless of what she does, but what's the point of all of this? Getting laid. So you want the answer? You really want the answer? There's two reasons why people do things: survival and reproduction. If you could find the link to either one of those, that's why you do it. Simple as that. I love it when people like tell me like, Rollo, why is sex such a big deal? Why are you guys fixate on sex? I'm like, because sex is what motivates us to do all kinds of different things, or the lack thereof. It used to, anyways. If you want to know why people are like less creative today, it's because the sex part's been more or less taken care of for guys. You can go rub one out. You're not creative if you're like don't have some sort of like sexual angst, like to drive you on to the next thing. Man, if I just invent the next refrigerator, then I get laid. Take that away and it's gone. That's why sex is a big deal. People think, oh, it's just getting fucking rubbing one out. No, it's the motivation and the incentive behind it. I don't know if you already covered this or not on the 43 million 304s. She's starting a content house called BOP of creators live in the house. That's Lily Phillips is creating something like that. It wouldn't be the first, Sir Mr. Jason, it wouldn't be the first time. There's actually several content houses all over the place. There's probably several here in Vegas. And the reason I know this is because Domo it's like actually show me the Instagrams of these places. I don't know if it's still around. There used to be one here in Vegas called X House, and every room is like you can basically shoot sex scenes in every single room of this place. It's a nice place too. It was probably a mansion somebody had. I haven't seen it in a while. I don't know if it's still around, but I do know that there's at least one or two in Miami as well, because the guy who does the Black Tape Project, he uses one of that's called a quote unquote content house. Nobody lives there. They just use it for like content creators, so that it's kind of like a bed and breakfast for like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me actually.
I mean, it just goes back to the webcam days.
Yeah.
Webcam girls with giant facilities. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, God, I remember one time. I remember I had this conversation way back. I think it was in 2019 or 2020, probably the end of 2019, when like OnlyFans started to become a thing. And I remember I had this one conversation with Andrew Tate, and I said, what you guys, or it's Tristan Tate. I said, what are you guys going to do now that like OnlyFans is starting to become a thing? Because they built their whole reputation on cam girls. Well, they can't run it as well as we can. We'll just run it for them. Like they need us, just because it's like OnlyFans basically democratized like stripping and like amateur porn. Like anybody can do it now. It's kind of like, the reason I know this is because like I was part of like traditional media for a while, and then along came Quark Express and Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator and all these other things. And now all the things that I used to have to rely on other people to do, like typography and typesetting and everything else, all that was all done in one place, and I had to get good at it all really quick. Fortunately, I was good at it. I was much younger then. But what it had done is it made it possible for anybody to be a quote unquote desktop publisher. Right. So you can publish your own shit, go to a printer, and now you don't have to rely on an agency for better or worse, to do your brochures, to do your newsletters and everything else. The same thing applies to what I'm doing right now, which is broadcasting. All I need is a camera. All I really need is a computer. I can do this myself at home too, but it's nice to have. Kyle, I love you. But anybody can do it now. We don't need a gigantic. I don't need to go to Paramount Studios in Hollywood, California, like Dr. Phil, and have this army of production staff to do it. I got one guy in here, and I'm doing the hosting, right? We've democratized broadcast video, right? We've democratized pornography, more or less. Anybody can do porn. Go look up Hot Wives. Actually, don't. If they can do it, you can too. Conservative talking heads fear Rollo Tomasi. Yes, they. Wait, hold on.
Say my name.
Yes, they do. They do fear. Yeah, they fear me. I'll tell you who fears me. You know who really fears me? Chris Williamson. Really. I won't bite. I won't bite, Chris. I'm much nicer now. I'm much less gleeful. That motherfucker said that to me one time. What time is it? Okay, I got let's see, I got one last thing here. I have this. I don't know if I'll do the whole video. Should I do the whole video? Where did it go? No, that's not it. Hold on. Rollo videos. And, here we go. All right. I'm kind of, this is kind of along the same lines as the accountability thing. Now, when I wrote the essay on accountability recently on Substack, I was kind of making the comparison between like sort of revenge and accountability. And I think a lot of people think of accountability equals revenge. And I think that one of the reasons why people like sort of like goofing on Lily Phillips is because, oh, look at this slut. I'm holding her accountable. How so? I'm calling her a slut. Like, no, you're not. There's no accountability. Accountability only works if the person you're holding accountable learns the lesson. And then later on, they make a different decision as a result of you holding them, quote unquote, accountable. Okay. So really what you're looking at is, like I said, comeuppance, or you're looking for revenge. You're looking for vindication. Let me see if I can find this here. Where's Coco? There she is. Okay. All right. I feel like I have to explain this a little bit because I was unable to really dig in too deep on this. We covered this on an Access Vegas, but I wanted to point this out because I started my essay using this chick right here.
I do not accept a coffee or a walk as a possible date option, and neither should you. First of all, I'm not a dog that needs to be walked. Second, I have an espresso machine at home, works fabulous. We're not doing drinks either. You're gonna try to get me drunk and take me back home. No. We are doing dinner. You're gonna pick me up. We're gonna come to the restaurant. We're gonna see your table manners. We're gonna see what you order. We're gonna see, do you hold your chopsticks correctly? We're just gonna, study you a bit. Okay, so dinner it is.
I started the egg freezing process. I did some preliminary tests which showed that my egg count is really low. The doctors did tell me that might affect my fertility. It's just so sad. I've been like crying the entire day. Like I just feel this giant pain in my stomach right now.
Okay. That is Coco Butte. Beaute. And if you wondering why I'm even putting her on there in the first place, is because she was the first debate opponent that I had on Saucecast. Remember I told you I was helping Adam Sosnick develop Saucecast and all that other shit? She was one of the first ones on there. You can still go find that video on Adam Sosnick show, Saucecast. Actually, all you have to do is like put on Rollo Tomasi and then Coco Butte, Koko Butte, right? And it's there, and there's a bunch of clips and stuff from that time. And she's talking, oh, I don't need a coffee date. I don't want to go. Was the reason like she said I don't go on walks because on the beach, because that was part of what we were talking about during the show. And she's talking about this stuff like she doesn't need. I don't need to go on walks. I'm not a dog. We're gonna go to dinner. I'm gonna like. Kyle, do you know how to hold your chopsticks correctly?
Very much so.
I guess that doesn't matter too much to her these days. And so now during that time, like if you go to that video where I'm having this back and forth with her, everybody says, oh, Rollo, he should have like punched her in the face. He didn't draw blood. We need like even now, today, in 2024, there's still comments that are like maybe 2 weeks old going, man, we needed Myron and John Zerka on this show. Like John Zerka wasn't even fucking born back then. He didn't even know what he was talking about, right? And you got to remember this was 2022 and Myron wasn't the Myron you know today. So, but everybody, oh, Rollo didn't punch her in the face. He played softball with her. He was too diplomatic, yada, yada. And you got to remember this was back in a time or back in, 2 years ago or maybe almost 3 years ago. And we're developing a show. Okay. We're not like, oh, well, okay, you bitch, get off the show. Is that what you wanted me to do? But if you look at the comments back then and even now, you'll still see like the theme is, of course, oh, she's insufferable. She's she's one of them was she's going to end up in her 30s, 35 years old with no eggs and a spinster and everything. And lo and behold, here she is. And the prophecy has come true, right? She has a very minimal egg count, I guess now, and she's considering freezing her eggs because she still wants to have kids and she still wants to have this thing. But now she's getting hers. This is her comeuppance, right? Now, like that's the comeuppance, right? She's crying. So is Lily Phillips. She was crying too, right? And now it makes guys feel good. Ah, yeah, sweet revenge. She's no eggs, no eggs, no eggs. Remember that? No eggs, no eggs, no eggs. Ah, an empty egg carton. Everybody loving every fucking minute of it too, right? But that's not accountability, gentlemen. Oh, she's being held accountable. She's feeling punished. She's not learning anything. She still thinks she deserves the same guy. It's not like you taught her anything. There's nothing new for her to sort of pick up on, right? Just saying. But it does feel good. It does. Oh man, it's like, oh, sweet revenge. I love it. Like that's again, you don't get anywhere with that shit. If you want accountability, you need to seize authority back. You want accountability with these, like I was saying with when Matt Walsh was talking his shit, right? She didn't learn jack shit. And she's not going to learn jack shit. And you know what? Women are not going to learn jack shit from watching that either. Oh, how's it going? How's it is, right? How many women do you think like stop to go, oh man, I better change my ways or I'm going to end up like that too. Right after I shoot this OnlyFans video. No one is doing it. Empty egg. It feels good for the guys who are like they're like, who, oh, see, we called it. We knew it was happening. Rollo was right again. Okay, well, okay, fine. But nothing changes. Nothing is there. There's no effective like accountability does nothing. At least in that by that definition. Because that definition is not accountability. That's comeuppance. You wanted to see her fail. You wanted to see her get hers. You wanted to see her on her knees. Oh, you were right. I'm sorry. I should have listened to you. Even now, when she's trying to freeze her eggs, she would still not do that. She would still not she would not acknowledge the fact that what you were saying before, she should have been humbled. Do you think, let me ask you this. Do you think that like, if I were on there or Myron was on there, we kicked that bitch off the show and said, you need to shape up, woman. Here's your accountability. We're kicking you off until you learn a better lesson. And you know that, a coffee date is okay and chopsticks don't matter. and long walks on the beach are probably better than you think they are. You're just a typical materialistic American white bitch, right? Do you think that would have affected anything that's in the next video? Like and remember, that was 2 years ago, coming up on 3, but that was about 2 years ago that she was really full of herself and riding high. And now, but do you think that she doesn't think she's riding high still? It's an inconvenience to her. She's crying about it. She wants sympathy for it. She wants people to sort of like empathize with the fact that she had to freeze her eggs, but she's not learned anything. There's no accountability. There is no accountability. That's the whole gist of, today's show, of course, because Lily Phillips is not going to be held accountable. She's going to take that $10 million and laugh her ass all the way to the fucking bank. And I would too. Oh, here you go. And mom's going to be happy as fuck. Doesn't her parents care about it? Yeah, they care about the $10 million that's in a fucking bank account. So saying, like, I remember watching that thing as somebody asked Jordan Peterson, they said, how much money are you worth? And I think it's like, his worth on online was like something like $10 million. She's like, oh no, I'm worth way more than that. You might want to tone that down, Jordan. But I'm sure he's worth a whole lot more as working or being licensed by the Daily Wire. I'm sure he's got way more than $10 million right now. But trying to downplay that. But one of the things that gets me, and I don't understand why we do this sort of selectively, but for instance, I can remember when Joe Rogan moved over from YouTube over to Spotify. And if you said anything, I said, hey, I think Joe Rogan's kind of wrong about this. Or, if you had anything critical to say about Joe Rogan back then, there were so many like success gurus back then. They go, yeah, well, he's worth $100 million. So anything he says, $100 million. The sky is green, $100 million. Doesn't matter.
I think it was 250 million.
Yeah. So the money that he makes means he's right. He must be doing something right because he's got $250 million, right? Jordan Peterson must be right because he's got way more than $10 million. So does that mean that Lily Phillips is right in doing what she's doing? Hey, $10 million, you can't. So just shut the fuck up. Did you make $10 million today? No, you didn't. She did. She's right. You're wrong. Sounds a little bit different, doesn't it? She's fucking 100 guys in 24 hours. $10 million. She must be doing something right. She's going to fuck 1,000 guys in 24 hours? How much? Well, is that worth $100 million? Or to amplify it, by an increment of 10? No, it doesn't. It matters what you fucking do. And I don't think a lot of people realize. You want to know why she's not being held accountable or this accountability bullshit? It's because it matters what you do. What's the effect? Who's being accountable? Who learned a lesson from this? Who's living a better life as a result of this? I got fucking swamis in fucking India using my stuff. I hope I'm going to outlive. I hope my work's going to outlive me, right? Did I make $10 million today? I'll be lucky if I made $1,000 today. But the long and the short of it is what is the work doing? What is the idea? What is the principle? What is the concept? What's behind it? I don't care if it's making you $1 million or $10. Is it helping somebody? Is it pushing somebody to be a better person? Is it affecting change? Because that's what accountability is. At least that should be as far as I'm concerned, that should be the function of accountability, is inspiring people to change, to live better life or whatever, more efficient life. I don't care what the fuck it is, but inspiring people. Accountability should be inspiring somebody to affect change in their lives. You can call it bad or for better or worse. I don't care. But the thing is, it should be inspiring you to change. And as far as I can tell, Coco Butte, the only thing she's crying a little bit, but again, they're the same crocodile tears that I see coming out of Lily Phillips. And you know what? Same effect. Oh, that poor girl. you got these guys going, yeah, she got hers. And then there's this big army of women going, oh, that poor girl. She can't find a man. Men suck today. That's the effect. They don't care about like what her dating standards were. They only care about freezing eggs, right? Let's see. BTC. Oh, Bitcoin just hit another all-time high. It did?
104,000.
Really? Ooh. Stacks, sats, pick up heavy things, don't get married, don't use leverage, don't drink in excess. That's it. Was it ladies, liquor, and leverage will get you wrecked. That's the best line from Richard Hart I ever heard. Eggs. Oh, okay. Thank you for your eggs, Chirac. Okay. Just off topic, did you cut off sugar altogether since you've been God, I wish. Since you've been working out, or is it measured? I only have zingers on Sundays. No, dude, I cut out sugar altogether. When I do a cut, I'm kind of like not in a cutting phase right now. This is like the winter months, so I kind of don't worry about like cutting back on like I don't do calorie restriction until like the spring. So I'm not really too worried about it. But last year when I was, it was just calorie restriction. So, and then that included sugar. So yeah, I guess to an extent. Am I like psychotic about sugar? Like, oh my God, it's like cocaine. No, it's just, it's sugar is in my world, sugar is not necessarily cocaine, but it is calorie dense. So it's off the fucking list. Maybe that corn syrup, seed oils are the devil's brew. I'm like, well, I don't eat them anyways. Or like this is like, I think I have one of these like a week, if that. I don't even really drink I drink coffee. I would rather like when people ask me this, they say, well, Rolo, what's your dietary thing? What's your plan? And I'm like,
your meal plan.
Caffeine and stress. That's what I eat. And on Sundays I eat hate on my cheat days.
You wanna appetite suppressant? Caffeine and nicotine.
Modafinil.
Yep.
Yeah, modafinil will definitely do it. Oh God, don't do it. But you know what else? One of the things that I looked up recently, and you know how they always talk about albuterol or clenbuterol. Alan Clen, his brother Clen. Alan is his cousin Clen. Don't fuck with either one of those guys. There is, however, their lesser known cousin, salbutamol. Salbutamol is like the best of both of those without the side effects. So if you can find salbutamol, and I don't know where on earth you would possibly find salbutamol. That works as an appetite suppressant for sure. It does, like I said, it does the same kind of thing that albuterol and clenbuterol do, but it's without the side effects. Trying to think what else like
for appetite suppressant.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember right, it's like yohimbine can help.
Yohimbe. I don't know. Like the best appetite suppressant I have is like just running cardio. Really, doing stuff like when I don't really fixate on food. Okay, sushi I do. Other than that, I don't really fixate on food all that much. I don't like tonight. I'll probably eat the same shit that I ate yesterday.
Well, so Rolo, like, what's the heaviest you ever been?
Weight wise, I'm probably the heaviest I've been right now. I'm 190 right now.
See, Rolo,
at 5'11". I'm the heaviest. But again, it's like, oh, you know what I got? I got one of those scales that will get your body fat, your body like mass it'll tell you your BMI. And yes, I know it's inaccurate. And your weight and your body composition, your water weight, it's like all inclusive and stuff. It costs like about like $250, but well worth it. I think it is worth it for me now, right? Primarily because semaglutide. There you go, semaglutide.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. By the way, you can get semaglutide semi-legal from Blue Sky Peptides. Yep. It's bloody expensive, but you can get it if you want to. You can get it from any peptide place. I didn't realize semaglutide wasn't a controlled.
Yeah, not yet.
It will be.
It will be.
Yeah. So buy it up now. You can get 45% off at Blue Sky Peptides right now. I'm endorsing it right now. But no, I got that thing, and my body fat right now is 15%.
Damn, yeah, that's good.
15%, and I weigh 190, and my BMI is 26.5 or something like that, 26.2 or something like that. My wife saw that, she goes, "That can't possibly be right." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she goes, your body fat's only 15, but your BMI is like 20. I go, because muscle weighs more than fat, baby.
It's condensed.
I said, yeah. But that's true, because like I've always been like, I always told people like BMI is just sort of like just take it with a grain of salt, because
rough estimate.
Yeah, because technically I'm overweight right now.
Yeah.
I am 5'11". I'm 190 pounds. I'm at 15% body fat, and my BMI is 26. So technically I'm overweight, but I'm overweight because I'm more yoked, right? But that's on a national average too. So
I've been bouncing around from like 270, 260, 250 since I was like a teenager, right?
I'm 15% right now, and that's in like the winter months.
That's good.
I'm gonna get down. I'm gonna like one of the reasons I bought this thing is because I want to get down to like 12. If I can get down to 12, I think I'll be all right. Maybe 10.
I mean, if you really want to go, there's water retention, keeping that water weight out.
Yeah,
get into the sauna.
Like my friend Alvaro Pena, like he's a fitness competitor.
Yep.
I'll show you pictures of him. I think he's at 8.
Yeah, because getting below ripped. That 10% is rough.
Ripped. Yeah, getting below 10 is start. If I could get to 12, I think I'll be all right. But yeah, I would very much like to drop just a little bit.
Yeah.
As far as body fat's concerned, it's like it's not even that big a deal. I just want to do it because I want the definition. I'm doing it because I want to see what I can do.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to compete or anything like that. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's a good one. Do we have anything else? For the way, it's funny as I was at Babes in Toyland on Thursday night, and my wife was with me, and there's a few pictures floating around on Instagram right now. You might be able to find a shot or two of me and my wife on someone's reels. I also my wife and I shot professional photography with Mike Tang, who I wanted to give a big shout out to because he really buffed me out, and he's like my soul brother, and I mean that in the most pure sense. He and I are kind of like kindred spirits. I think maybe that's a better way to put it. I love him like a brother, and I just wanted to give him a shout out. If you don't know who Mike Tang is, Mike Orangutan Studios, he's a photographer. And like, if you're a chick and you're on Instagram and you're like an FHM model or a Maxim model or whatever, you're a porn star or whatever, you know who Mike Tang is. Mike is also going to be moving he's going to have a new house or new base of operations here in Vegas too. So he's actually put in an offer on a house here. And so he's going to fluctuate between Miami and Vegas, which I'm really stoked about. But it came out really good, and I shot with my wife too, so it was really great because we're both in really good shape. I want to be able to have pictures of like what I look like at this age, and my wife at this age too. And let me also throw one last thing out here. Have you seen the pictures of Marissa Tomei?
Nope.
60 years old, and she looks good. She's definitely doable. Don't get me wrong. Looks fan-fucking-tastic, right? But I'll tell you right now, like a lot of women are going, see, there's no such thing as the wall. They want to use Marissa Tomei. Marissa Tomei, really? You want to use her for your example? Well, I'm happy that you enjoy that fantasy, ladies. But again, I have to repeat that the wall is not here. The wall is up here. That's where the wall starts. It's how much can you compete? Can you compete with if you're 60 years old and you think you can compete with your 30-year-old self? I have a bridge to sell you. Yes. All right. So that's going to be it for today. Lily, let's see if I can tie this up in a nice little bow. Lily Phillips. Keep an eye on this chick because I think a lot of people are saying she's on like suicide watch. No, she's not. She is most definitely not. And if you are part of the Matt Walsh / Candace Owens / Hannah Cox, whatever, whoever, you're part of the trad femme sort of thing, you're getting played. Michael Knowles, you are definitely getting played. Andrew Clavin, you're getting played. The more you talk about this, the more you're like into, like, I can talk about this because this is the shit I talk about all the time, right? So if you think I can save her, Michael Knowles, you are not going to say it. You did not save Nala Fit, and you are definitely not going to save Lily Phillips. Okay. She enjoys what she's doing. She loves every minute. She's 23 years old. I remember being on Adam Sosnick's show, and I was on there with Mike, and we had a panel. I think even like Tiffany Fox was on it too. And what's her face was on. I can't remember the chick's name. Anyways, we had a panel of girls, and there was one girl on there, and she was 23, same age as Lily. And they were asking these girls, do you have any plans to get married? When are you going to get married? Are you going to settle down? Are you going to have kids? Do you want to have kids? Do you want to, you want to be a wife? Do you want to learn to cook? Do you want to la, 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 la? And like a good portion of them did, except for the 23-year-old girl. She's like, I'm not even thinking about that shit. And everybody just ran her up the flagpole. Oh my gosh, you have to think now. You have to, what's going to happen if you don't find the right guy, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, I stopped them in their tracks. And I said, look, so see what I'm talking about? She's 23 years old. She is at the peak of her sexual market value. So is Lily Phillips. You are not going to tear her out. You're not going to save her from OnlyFans. It's not because men, those horrible, evil men are jerking off to her or are, showing up to bang her in 24 hours. She's doing this because she enjoys doing this. She's crying on camera because she knows it plays. She knows, why did Coco Butte cry? She knows it fucking plays. So when we're talking about holding women accountable and everything, you got to hold yourself accountable and realize you're not going to save her. You're not Captain Save-A-Ho. You're not a white knight. You're not going to be able to change her mind. Her accountability, I'm going to hold Lily Phillips accountable. No, you're not. Here's how you hold Lily Phillips accountable. You regulate OnlyFans. Here's how you hold her accountable. You eliminate OnlyFans. You take away her ability to make money at it, and then you might be able to actually have a conversation. Until then, what the fuck are you even doing? All you're doing is enabling this girl by building her narrative and building that engagement media, as I was saying before, just like Adam 22, just like Logan Paul, just like the rest of these guys. And I think that the more, like, certainly moving into 2025, into 2028 or whatever, going forward into 2030, you're going to see more of this kind of mass engagement media that is meant to get like idiots like me talking about it, and everybody, I can save her, right? I'm to my knowledge, I'm the only one that's pointing out the grift in engagement media. Nobody else wants to talk about the kayfabe. Nobody else wants to talk about, hey, professional wrestling is fake. There, I said, oh my God, what do you mean, Rollo? What about the Undertaker? Chris Jericho's not fake. Fuck you. What was it? Lee Atwater used to be one of the campaign managers for Ronald Reagan back in the day, and he said that professional wrestling is the most truthful, most purest form of entertainment in American history. And you know why? Because it gives the people what they want. It gives them a good guy and a bad guy, and they feel like they can participate in the narrative and in the story that's happening when the Undertaker takes a big old chair and beats it over the guy's head because he talks shit about his wife and said his dog was ugly. Right? Oh my God, there's justice must be served, right? And it's all fake. And these guys don't plan it, but they know how the whole bullshit works because it's kayfabe, right? And the more, it's like you don't break character until Rollo Tomasi comes in and says her fucking crocodile tears and everything else is bullshit, and I break character for her. And you know who else is still playing to character? Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh, Candace Owens, Ashley St. Clair, fucking Hannah Cox, whoever, Natalie, whatever the fuck her name is. All you guys are doing is playing along with this fucking kayfabe narrative. And you know what? You're playing in professional wrestling, and it's fake as fuck. And the more you apply yourself, and the more you throw yourself into it, and the more you try to build your own brand based on this girl, and all moralizing and pearl clutching and everything else, so all you're doing is putting money in her fucking bank account. And maybe you're getting eyes up. Maybe you're building your brand. Maybe you got a few more followers. Maybe you got some fucking subs. But you know what you're not going to do? You're not going to hold her fucking accountable, because she won't be held accountable. There's no such thing as fucking accountability. It's time to fucking end that fucking fantasy right now. Thanks for the wisdom today. Thanks, Derek Nelson. And does Lily get all this publicity remind you of that woman who, yes, hell yeah. Which one is that?
Or hey, y'all.
Oh, this girl?
Hey, y'all.
You mean Brittany, fuck is her name? I always think Brittany Venti. It's not Brittany Venti. It's Brittany Renner. Brittany Renner. Yeah. She's a Muslim now. That's the new kayfabe. She's gone from Brittany Renner, the professional wrestler who finessed PJ Washington, to being a woman of God. You believe that? I don't. I sure as fuck don't. But if I say I don't, then I got angry Muslims like throwing shit at me for saying I don't. The same thing with angry Christians. They're going to say, I'm going to pray for her immortal soul. Yeah, you know what she's going to do? She's going to laugh all the way with another $10 million. While you're praying for her, she's going to walk right to the bank and deposit that check. And her mom's going to do it for her. Ha ha ha. Who's the sucker now? All right, guys. Let's see. What do we have going on? I'm going to try to do midday or midweek because remember that people wanted to start talking about the red pill and stuff. We want to do some like more straight out of the book stuff. We could do that here, I suppose.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do it on a Thursday night because we're not doing an Access Vegas on Thursdays. Every Thursday. We're trying to do every other Thursday, but we're in holiday schedule right now, so it's kind of the studio's open. I am going to be doing a sort of a special series with my friend Domo and some of these other girls that are going to be at the AVN, which is the Adult Video Network or Awards or some shit like that. It's coming up in January, but that'll be in January. But I might have Domo in here and just have sort of a back and forth and discuss with her. I think she's intelligent enough to. Would love to have her in here and talk about Lily. But I think actually opening a discourse or opening a conversation like that would be very valuable. But let's just I think for the time being though, I think maybe midday or midweek we'll get down to like hypergamy, right? What do you want to talk about? Like let me know in the comments what you would like me to cover from the book. And by the way, the book is available on Amazon still. And all 5 of them are available, but start with the first one. People always ask me what the reading order is. And I always say, start with the first one and whatever your interests are after that, then go on to the other books. Available on Amazon. You can get that from the link down there. Also Reignite, if you guys are interested, if you're at a point where you sort of need to build yourself back from being zeroed out, that's what Reignite is for. I am partnered with MOA, which is Men of Action. Also, you can get to that link as well. Mike's MOA is, I'm trying to sort of differentiate between the two. My group is for guys who are sort of coming back from a deficit, guys who are trying to rebuild their lives, who've been sort of hammered flat by a divorce, or maybe they just don't understand things, or maybe it's not for particular. We've opened it up, so it's not for a particular like age range, right? So if you're 30 and you're kind of like guys at 30 get divorced just as much as guys at 40. So really what it is to help you sort of build back from zero so that you guys aren't putting a noose around your neck. So you guys aren't putting a gun in your mouth. And it's to help guys who need that help. Mike's group is much more sort of like social circle game. It's social proof. It's really kind of like get out there in the clubs and get out in the field and do it. Mine is sort of more just working on yourself and building yourself back up. So that's what Reignite is really about. I'm working on my 6th book, which will be titled Reignite, and it's going to be based on that same principle, helping guys rebuild their lives and reconstruct their lives. And that's really what Reignite is about. If you want to get involved in that program, you can go into that. Thank you for that, Sambata. You can go to that link there and sign up, talk to my guys. And by the way, if you have heard from me on Instagram, and I'm like, if you just follow me and you get an instant response or instant reply, yes, that is the people that I work with from Reignite, but I see every single one of those. It is me responding to you. So if people go, hey, man, I don't know if this is really, really Rolo, I'll step in and I'll go, no, it's me. What do you want to talk about? Like, I want to know, because what I'm trying to do is gauge what the interest is and gauge what people what the problems are that people want to have addressed. That's why I'm doing this. So it's much more hands-on. It's me and you. It's face-to-face. It's boots on the ground. So it's not just podcasting or writing a book. It's actually personal interaction with guys. So that's why I do that. We have a series of events coming up. We have fun things to do too. Like I want to go deep sea fishing with you guys, so we can have like those kind of events. We'll play golf, go to shooting range, go to whatever it is, whatever your interests are, because that's where the communication happens. So we're doing that. I'm doing that with my partner, Joe Marin. He's also involved in MOA. And so we're building out this program. We've been doing it really since about at the end of August or early September. And so we're just sort of, we're getting the ball rolling. 2025 is I'm probably going to put myself into this more than anything else. And as I said before, the next book is going to be called Reignite. So you guys can help yourself sort of get into a reconstruction or rebuilding of yourself. So there you go. All right, guys. Yes, TRT is my. Wait a minute. Hold on. Rollo sells TRT is
really a secret sauce. She'll trend everywhere in your ass, in your chest, in your quads.
That's what you get when you capitalize everything. Caps lock hustler. Yes. Yeah, that's what you get. The secret sauce. No, I do not. I have no endorsements for God, I wish I did, man.
That'd be
For
awesome.
Ageless Male or American Male Wellness or whatever. Boy, if you want to endorse that, you want to sponsor this show and you're tier, I invite you right now. I'll be 100% above board. Please. Yeah, I could use the endorsement. I would love to help you out. But I have nothing like that yet. Yes, call me Boulder Shoulders all day. That's my favorite thing to work out.
Shoulders is
Shoulders
the best.
is what responds the best to me, anyways. So, which I need to go do tomorrow, actually. You remember I told you I had that injury on my shoulder? Yep. It's not this one now. It's over here. It's like,
I mean, are you stretching before? Or?
Well, yeah. I mean, I always do, but it's like, I think what's funny is like when you're on TRT and like I'm 56 years old, my muscular wise, like pressing the weight and stuff, like I can bench like 225. That's my working weight is 225 right now. But my tendons and my joints are still fucking 56 years old. So I have to be really careful of that shit. You know, when you get injured, when I get injured the most is not actually doing the actual exercise. It's when I'm pulling weights off the fucking rack. And I pinch something in my traps or something like that. It fucking kills, man. One of these days, I don't know if anybody, well, give it to me.
Trend is the answer. It's the only way. I'm the dark lord of the trend pit.
There you go. Like now everybody's gonna start like throwing like all these caps. Okay, sad. That's the last one. You don't get it anymore. The Rational Male Wellness. I wish it was. So let's see. I had people asking me about like my workout regimen too, and I think I might do something with the my Osmo and see if I don't like to take my phone into the gym because it seems like, oh, look at me. But I think I might do some stuff inside the gym and just sort of like do a little bit of maybe like little 5-minute, 6-minute videos and throw them up there and see if people respond to them like that. I am in no way a fitness guy. I know it works for me. I don't know what would work for you. I do not have a degree in nutrition or diet. I'm not a dietitian. I am not a certified personal trainer. I can tell you what works for me, but other than that, but like a lot of people want to know, like, what do you eat? What do you eat in the morning, Rollo? What did I have this morning? I had an egg bite. No, that's not true. I had egg whites and I had some bacon. I almost have bacon every single morning.
Bacon's so goddamn.
I was like at least 2. Well, you know why? Because like my dogs love it too, so I have to cook a little bit. They expect it. So, but yeah.
The bacon tax.
Thank you for bacon tax, the cheese tax, and the bacon tax. That's in the morning. But coffee, I drink. I still drink. What you call it? Wait, let me see if I can put it up there. Devil Mountain Coffee. See, here you go. Devil Mountain Coffee. Yes, they're still around. So they're looking for a new distributor in case any. There you go. Thank you. But yes, they are still around. I still enjoy Devil Mountain Coffee quite a bit. It is the highest caffeine content you could possibly get. It is 1555 milligrams per 8-ounce cup. If you ever wonder why I'm amped up when I come and do the show, that's why. He must be on something. Yeah, Devil Mountain Coffee. Get some today. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. I think people probably would like to see me do a fitness thing. So that might be in the cards as well. All right, guys, that'll be good enough for today. I will see you guys next week, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. I promise I won't be talking about this crap. And then also look for a midweek show either on Wednesday or on Thursday. Okay. No Access Vegas, but we will be coming back. Oh, by the way, I didn't make this announcement. The next Access Vegas that we do the first one that we do in January, we're going to have Owen Cook on the show.
Oh,
so,
shit.
Yeah. So we're working on it anyways. Mike is doing some kind of series or something with MOA with Owen Cook, and he wants to get him on the show. And so do I. I think it'd be great. So, and I've kind of have a different opinion of Owen. I like Owen quite a bit these days. So, but anyways, he will definitely be on the show probably the first week of January. So that's something to look forward to. So Owen Cook, first of the year. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
tell these bitches to go to hell.
Would you do it again? I need to feel you on top of me. It was my first time, but I was just a kid when we met and went to bed. It was my first time. What do you expect from me? I'm breaking up the rules now again. I've got some new tools. Please do the same. Time came by and went over like a matchbox stereo. Time to get my thoughts now, let go. Bound to keep me up all night. But maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things be different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know if maybe we can fuck again, then maybe things be different.
Oh, sometimes you don't get the whole man.
Hey, y'all.
Dump that bitch.
Walking in the bathroom, tearing up everywhere while I got your hair. Why you screaming my name?
That's nasty. It is nasty, right? Isn't it nasty? Ugh.
She was swinging in the bedroom, whole time stopping and stubbing with her hair. Like she's calling you Kelly.
Well, I'm a whore.
Run me up and down like a pony. Turning up my song, getting messy. Working up and down on your body. Run me up and down like a pony. Turning up my song.
You lose. Good day, sir.
Preceding podcast has been a production of The Rational Male. All rights reserved. Registered trademark 2024. Don't steal Ned stuff.
Bye, Felicia.
I feel like I just took a bath in battery acid.
Goddamn right. Misogyny.
God wants you to have the baby.